Chapter 1041. Ning Cheng wanted to lure Qiu Tian over. Since Qiu Tian came in time and spoke, Ning Cheng naturally wouldn't continue. Seeing Ning Cheng stop, Ba Meng put away the Sun Moon Pagoda in time. The Tao Essence Divine Emperor who stopped Ning Cheng could only put away his magic treasure. Ning Cheng greets Association Master. Ning Cheng quickly stepped forward and greeted him. Qiu Tian was not only an expert in the Pill Tao, but he was also the strongest in the Pill Association. At least Ning Cheng couldn't see through Qiu Tian's cultivation. Moreover, Qiu Tian was an upright person, so Ning Cheng had always respected him. Pill Sage Ning must have had a hard time coming back. Why did you fight with Elder Dao Peng? Qiu Tian asked when he saw Ning Cheng stop. He said that Ning Cheng had a hard time coming back because he knew why Cheng Ho Tian was poisoned. The person who poisoned Cheng Ho Tian mainly wanted to lure Ning Cheng back, which meant that Ning Cheng wouldn't have had a safe journey. The middle stage Tao Essence Divine Emperor called Dao Peng was Kai Daopeng, the first elder of the Pill Association. His status in the Pill Association was second only to Qiu Tian and Cheng Ho Tian. When he saw Qiu Tian talking to Ning Cheng in a friendly manner, he felt very uncomfortable. If someone else dared to fight in the Pill Association, Qiu Tian wouldn't have said a word and would have killed them. Facing Ning Cheng, not only did the Association Master ask for the reason, but he also spoke in such a friendly manner. Ning Cheng once again cupped his fists and spoke, replying to the Association head, I brought my friend back to help heal Elder Brother Ho Tian, but this Elder Kai Daopeng forcibly stopped me and did not allow my friend to go in to help heal Association head Cheng. Kai Daopeng was furious, but he could only say to Qiu Tian, replying to Association Master, when Pill Sage Ning came back, he didn't say that he brought people to help cure Association Master Cheng. Qiu Tian chuckled, since it's a misunderstanding and we're all members of the Pill Association, let's forget it. Let's go in and see Association Master Ho Tian. I've been trying to detoxify the bone-extending poison, but I haven't found any other way except for the sky-extending bone-extending pill. I heard that Pill Sage Ning refined the sky-extending bone-extending pill for the Void Star sect before. Is that true? Ning Cheng replied, it's true. Do you still have any cloud-replenishing bone vein pills? Kai Daopeng asked eagerly. Ning Cheng glanced at Kai Daopeng and spoke, no. Kai Daopeng didn't ask any more questions, but he inadvertently heaved a sigh of relief. He did not know that Ning Cheng was referring to the fact that he did not have it on his hand, but there was actually half a bottle in his ring. The restriction on Cheng Ho Tian's room opened, but what Ning Cheng did not expect was that there was another person in Cheng Ho Tian's room. It was a woman that Ning Cheng had never seen before. But what shocked Ning Cheng even more was Cheng Ho Tian's state. Cheng Ho Tian looked even more terrifying than when Ning Cheng first saw Qi Shizingsing. He looked almost like a skeleton, and a purplish-black skeleton at that. Not to mention the Tao primordial Tao runes, even the deathly aura surrounded him. Why is Association Master Ho Tian like this? Ning Cheng asked in horror. That ancestor Kong could resist for so many years, but how long had it been since Cheng Ho Tian? Si Chen Qiu Tian sighed and said, the striped bone poison is too powerful. Ho Tian hasn't reached primordial chaos Tao validation, so he can't resist the power of the striped bone poison. In a few more days, I'm afraid. Si Chen Qiu Tian did not continue, but everyone understood the meaning of his words. Cheng Ho Tian wouldn't be able to hold on for long. In just a few more days, he would most likely fall. Ning Cheng did not ask again, nor did he take out the heaven-replenishing bone vein pill for Cheng Ho Tian to take. Instead, he sighed and did not speak. After a while, his gaze fell on the woman in Cheng Ho Tian's room. Who are you? Why are you here? Kai Daopeng immediately replied, Association Master Cheng's poison is too severe. I brought her here to take care of Association Master Cheng. Ning Cheng did not ask again and said to Si Chen Qiu Tian, Association Master, I want to take away Elder Brother Ho Tian to cure the poison. Even if there is only 1 in a billion chance, I will try my best. Before Si Chen Qiu Tian could speak, Kai Daopeng's face sank and said, Association Master Cheng is my Pill Union's second Association Master. His identity is extremely precious. How can you take him away just because you want to? If something happens, can you bear the responsibility? Ning Cheng stared at Kai Daopeng and sneered, "Are you the Tao Primordial Pill Saint or am I the Tao Primordial Pill Saint? If I can't bear the responsibility, can you?" Association Master just said that Association Master Cheng won't be able to hold on for long. You and the people you invited have been taking care of Association Master Ho Tian. What about the truth? Hearing Ning Cheng compare alchemy to him, Kai Daopeng's face turned even uglier. However, he could not refute it because his alchemy level was not as good as Ning Cheng's. Association Master? Kai Daopeng, who could not refute, could only look at Sichen Chiotian. Sichen Chiotian waved his hand and said to Ning Cheng, "Ning Cheng, take Ho Tian away. You and Ho Tian are friends, and you are also a Tao Primordial Pill Saint. I believe you. I have all the auxiliary herbs for refining the heaven-replenishing bone vein pill. Unfortunately, I only got the silk silver phoenix grass as the main material. If you need it, you can come to me at any time. No matter what the result is, I think as long as you try your best, Ho Tian will not blame you. After this matter, you have to focus on the 5 Realms pill competition." "Yes, many thanks, Association Master. Once I get the rest of the Tao fruits, I will come to trouble Association Master," Ning Cheng said with gratitude. In any case, Sichen Chiotian sincerely wanted to help Cheng Ho Tian. It's just that the materials for refining the heaven-replenishing bone vein pill were a bit difficult to obtain. Since the association head had agreed, Kai Daopeng could only watch Ning Cheng leave with Cheng Ho Tian with a black face. Ning Cheng had a Tao Essence powerhouse by his side. Even if he was at the middle stage Tao Essence realm, he would not dare to do anything to Ning Cheng. "Brother Ning Cheng, I think there's something wrong with that pill association elder." After leaving the pill association, Ba Meng spoke up. Ning Cheng sneered, "There must be something wrong with him. Not only him, but the woman who took care of elder brother Ho Tian also has some problems. Elder brother Ho Tian's room does not have a healing array, but a monitoring array. Does he think I don't understand the Tao of arrays? Brother Ning, you're back?" Jian Sanshan saw Ning Cheng coming to his cave and immediately came out to greet him with joy. "Senior apprentice brother." Wu Qihong's surprised voice came out, and a moment later, Xen Xiu also came out. Ning Cheng asked in doubt, "Since you two are here, what about the Heaven Essence Sacred City's pill house? Did you hire someone to look after it?" Xen Xiu and Wu Qihong lowered their heads with guilt written all over their faces. Jian Sanshan sighed and said, "It's because I'm too weak to protect the pill house. When I heard that Association Master Xing got poisoned by the pattern bone poison, I knew that it might have come for you. Therefore, I asked Junior Apprentice Sister Xian and Junior Apprentice Brother Qihong not to tell you about it." Ning Cheng immediately understood. He nodded and did not ask about this matter again. Instead, he introduced Ba Meng to everyone. Then he held up the chair in his hand and said, "This is Association Master Cheng. Let's go in. I want to heal Association Master Cheng." Ning Cheng had too many eyes in the rest stops, so he chose to come to Jian Sanshan's cave. He had helped Jian Sanshan rearrange the defensive array in his cave, which made it much safer than some rest stops. In a room with restrictions, Ning Cheng took out a sky-extending mark bone pill and put it into Cheng Ho Tian's mouth. Back then, Ancestor Kong had used the sky-extending mark bone pill to detoxify the poison, but it had taken him a few hours. But now, in just an incense stick worth of time, a black mist overflowed from the top of Cheng Ho Tian's head. Then, drops of black pattern bone poison dripped from his body and fell into the jade bottle prepared by Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng's restrictions blocked the overflowing poisonous mist, and not even a little bit of it leaked out. Another hour passed, and the blackish-purple color on Cheng Ho Tian's body slowly disappeared. Even his corporeal body slowly returned to normal. Cheng Ho Tian opened his eyes, nodded to Ning Cheng, and closed his eyes again. A heaven and earth Tao charm aura began to condense around Cheng Ho Tian. Seeing this, Ning Cheng knew that Cheng Ho Tian was fine. He walked out of the room with Ba Meng and the others, leaving Cheng Ho Tian alone to detoxify. Junior Apprentice Sister Xen Xiu, can you tell us what happened to our pill house? Ning Cheng didn't have the time to ask Xen Xiu until now. In fact, Xen Xiu and Wu Qihong were fine, which made Ning Qing feel relieved. As long as they were fine, everything else was secondary. Without waiting for Xen Xiu to speak, Jian Sanshan spoke up, "I'm afraid this matter has nothing to do with them. After association Master Sheng was poisoned, someone came to our pill house to sell falling scar fruits." "You said that someone came to our pill house to sell falling scar fruits?" Ning Qing asked in confusion. Falling scar fruits were a Dao fruit that people would snatch from anywhere. Why would someone come to a pill house to sell it? Jian Sanshan nodded. After that person took out the falling scar fruits, the people in pill house immediately turned green with envy and started to snatch the falling scar fruits. Ning Qing spoke up with a gloomy expression, "I understand now. Did they snatch away the rest of the medicinal pills in the pill pavilion while snatching the falling scar fruit, and then turn the pill pavilion into a mess? In the end, these people all disappeared?" Jian Sanshan sighed. "That's it. At that time, Xen Xiu, who was in pill house, was seriously injured. Fortunately, I arrived in time and saved Xen Xiu. I guess that this matter and the poisoning of Association Master Sheng were all done to lure you back. Yes, this time, they indeed came for you." Cheng Hotian's voice came out in time. Although he still looked a little dispirited, he no longer had the aura of the tattoo bone poison. "Elder brother Hotian, you're fine." Ning Qing stood up and spoke with joy. Cheng Hotian nodded. "Brother Ning Qing, I have to thank you this time. Fortunately, you said that there was no heaven-extending scar bone pill in the pill house. If you had told Kai Daoping that there was a heaven-extending scar bone pill, I'm afraid I wouldn't have had the chance to come here." "You mean?" Ning Cheng's eyes suddenly flashed with killing intent. Kai Daoping had stopped him, and he had always thought that it was because of his personal grievances with Cheng Hotian. But if Kai Daoping was the culprit behind the tattoo bone poison, then don't blame him for being impolite. A mere Kai Daoping didn't have the qualifications to covet his things. Cheng Hotian spoke up with a solemn expression. "It shouldn't be just Kai Daoping. Kai Daoping and I have some conflicts, but he wouldn't go so far as to poison me. But this time, he must have participated in it. I, Cheng Hotian, have reached the Dao Essence realm for many years and have seen all kinds of storms. If you want my life, then you'll have to exchange it with your life." Chapter 1042. Ning Qing then introduced Ba Meng to Cheng Hotian. Ba Meng had admired Cheng Hotian for a long time. Hearing Ning Cheng's introduction, he quickly stood up and said, "Ba Meng greets big brother Hotian." Ba Meng and Ning Cheng were friends, and Cheng Hotian had become famous tens of thousands of years earlier than him. Although both of them were at the primordial Dao realm, Ba Meng was at the early stage primordial Dao realm, while Cheng Hotian was at the full stage primordial Dao realm. Cheng Hotian quickly waved his hand and said, "Ning Cheng and I are friends. You can just call me by my name. Just call me Hotian. Brother Ning Cheng, you can do the same. I estimate that in a few years, Ning Cheng's cultivation will be higher than ours." Cheng Hotian wasn't talking nonsense. Ning Cheng had seen his cultivation the first time he met him, and what was his cultivation now? How long had it been? His progress was too big. "Hotian, what do you plan to do in the future?" Ning Cheng didn't stand on ceremony and asked directly. Cheng Hotian sighed. "The Elixir Association was my favorite place. I don't know how many years I've been in the Elixir Association. I can't even remember it clearly. I do what I like to do in the Elixir Association, researching some pill recipes. But now, I'm a little disappointed. I plan to leave the Elixir Association and go out to look for primordial chaos Dao opportunities." Ning Qing remained silent. He knew what Cheng Hotian meant. That was, Chiu Tian didn't stand on his side and was even a little biased. In fact, Cheng Hotian wasn't wrong. Even Ning Qing could see that something was wrong in the room. Chiu Tian couldn't possibly not know about Kai Daoping's tricks. However, he didn't stop them. One reason was that he didn't want to get involved in the dispute between the two. The other reason was that Cheng Hotian was almost hopeless, while Kai Daoping was the mainstay of the Elixir Association. The association master focuses on the alchemy Dao and rarely asks about other things. I'm also a person who focuses on the alchemy Dao. I really don't want to waste my life in this kind of intrigue. Seeing Ning Cheng remain silent, Cheng Hotian explained. Ning Cheng suddenly thought of the 5 Realms Pill competition. Then can you participate in the 5 Realms Pill competition with us? Cheng Hotian shook his head and said, that's absolutely impossible. The 5 Realms Pill competition is already extremely difficult to take. The guild master has to bear a certain amount of responsibility for bringing you along. If I were to be included, it would definitely not be allowed. Ning Cheng once again turned silent. He knew that he could not help even a little bit in this matter. Even if he didn't go to the 5 Realms Pill competition, Cheng Hotian wouldn't be able to go to the Great Change Realm. Brother Hotian, do you know who plotted against Ning Cheng? Ba Meng broke the silence and asked. Cheng Hotian's face turned solemn. I suspect that it has something to do with the Star Stepping Tower Master. When the Star Stepping Tower Master first arrived in Heaven Essence Sacred City, she looked very powerful. I even saw her fight. The woman in my room has a cultivation method similar to that of the Star Stepping Tower Master. Ning Cheng immediately thought of the black-robed woman with the veil over her face from the Star Stepping Tower. This woman most likely came from Earth. If she really came from Earth, it would be like stabbing a gun in the back when 2 people from the same hometown met. In any case, you have to be careful of Star Stepping Tower Master. Not only was this woman's cultivation extremely high, but she was also extremely scheming. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been able to control the first pavilion in Heaven Essence Sacred City. Cheng Hotian saw Ning Cheng pondering over it and reminded him again. I understand. Ning Cheng nodded. He had never underestimated this Star Stepping Tower Master. At this moment, the restriction at the door moved again. Ning Cheng saw Tsun Rushuan from the Sunken Fish Palace at the door and said, she came to ask me for alchemy. Xen Xiu, take her to the pill room next door. Helping the Sunken Fish Palace and the Silver Dragon clan with alchemy was very important. It was related to whether Ning Cheng could advance to the Dao Essence Pill Saint realm. A Dao Essence Pill Saint not only needed a thorough understanding of the Dao of alchemy but also a deep understanding of the Dao laws of heaven and earth. In other words, if one didn't even understand what Dao Essence was, it would be a joke to refine Dao Essence pills. Ning Cheng was a Dao sculpting holy emperor. The reason why he could refine the 6 Soul pill, apart from his understanding of the Dao of returning to one during the alchemy conference, was because of the bestowing lawless fruit. Without the bestowing lawless fruit, Ning Cheng felt sure that even if his understanding of the Dao of returning to one reached a higher level, he wouldn't be able to refine Dao Essence pills. Now that Tsun Rushuan came, Ning Cheng wanted to see what kind of pill she would refine. If it was a rare Dao Essence pill that was difficult to refine, he would still refuse. It wasn't that he didn't keep his promise, but that he couldn't refine it. Only by refining a large number of Dao Essence pills would he be able to accept this order. Tsun Rushuan felt very happy. Ning Cheng wanted to meet her alone in the pill room. Apparently, he wanted to help her refine pills. I wonder if Association Master Cheng is feeling better. Although Tsun Rushuan wanted to get straight to the point, she had to ask Ning Cheng about Cheng Hotian first. She naturally knew that Ning Cheng had taken away Cheng Hotian from the Pill Association. Ning Cheng smiled. Association Master Cheng is still recuperating, but I believe he will recover. I don't know what kind of pill Senior Apprentice Sister Ru Xian wants me to refine this time. The Sunken Fish Palace has helped me a lot. Senior Apprentice Sister Ru Xian, feel free to ask. That's what I wanted you to say. Tsun Rushuan said with a smile, I want to refine some Supreme Palace Heavenly Ice pills and some Heavenly Essence pills. Ning Cheng breathed a sigh of relief. These 2 kinds of pills were Dao Essence pills, not the kind that were very difficult to refine. However, the main Dao fruit of the Heavenly Essence pill was really hard to find. Although the Heavenly Essence pill wasn't the most difficult to refine, it was one of the most valuable Dao Essence pills. The Heavenly Essence pill was a Dao pill that could allow Dao Transformation Divine Emperors to comprehend Dao Essence Dao runes. It was so precious that it could make any first-step Dao Validation Divine Emperor go crazy. Even if a Heavenly Essence pill could only give Dao Transformation Divine Emperors a slight chance to comprehend Dao Essence Divine Emperors, this slight chance was enough to make people go crazy. The Supreme Palace Heavenly Ice pill was simpler. It could only enhance one's comprehension of ice attribute divine abilities. Although the Supreme Palace Heavenly Ice Pill was a Tao Essence Tao Pill, Tao Transformation Divine Emperors could also use it. This kind of elixir was the best for Ning Cheng to practice with. I wonder how many cauldrons of elixirs senior sister Rushuan has? Ning Cheng asked. Sun Rushuan said in a solemn tone, over the countless years, the Sunken Fish Palace has only found 5 cauldrons of Heavenly Essence Pills and more than a dozen cauldrons of Supreme Palace Heavenly Ice Pills. As for the Supreme Palace Heavenly Ice Pills, it doesn't matter if Pill Sage Ning fails a little. Ning Cheng understood what Sun Rushuan meant. Even the Sunken Fish Palace only had 5 cauldrons of Heavenly Essence Pills. Failure was not allowed, but Sun Rushuan didn't say it out loud. As for the Supreme Palace Heavenly Ice Pills, it didn't matter if Pill Sage Ning failed a few cauldrons. The Sunken Fish Palace was one of the top 10 sections. Such a big sect only had 5 cauldrons of Heavenly Essence Pills after so many years. This showed how precious the Heavenly Essence Pills Tao fruit was. Ning Cheng said calmly, "It's impossible not to fail. I can't guarantee that I won't fail. Of course, I won't blame the Sunken Fish Palace for these failures." Sun Rushuan sighed. How could she not understand what Ning Cheng meant? That is, if the Sunken Fish Palace escorted me to the Heaven Essence Sacred City, I would help you refine elixirs. However, I would still have to pay for the elixirs. In case I fail, it would be the payment. It wasn't that Sun Rushuan didn't think that Ning Cheng wouldn't ask for payment, but it was just a thought. Even she didn't believe that a primordial Tao alchemy saint wouldn't ask for payment. I can make the decision to give more Supreme Palace Heavenly Ice Pills to Pill Sage Ning, but there are only 5 cauldrons of Heavenly Essence Pills. Sun Rushuan said with some lack of confidence. Ning Cheng said calmly, ordinary alchemy masters get paid 50% for helping others refine elixirs. Pill Sage gets paid 60% for helping others refine elixirs. I'm very grateful to Senior Sister Ru Xian of the Sunken Fish Palace for help, so I only want 40%. It's the same for any elixir. It was absolutely impossible to help the Sunken Fish Palace refine elixirs for free. Even if the Sunken Fish Palace helped him a lot, Ning Cheng wouldn't dare agree. He was still counting on the materials from the Sunken Fish Palace to practice. How could it be free? If it was free, who would pay for the broken elixirs? Sun Rushuan knew that Ning Cheng's offer was definitely a fair price. An ordinary alchemy saint wanted 60% elixirs, and that was for an alchemy saint below the primordial Tao realm. Ning Cheng was a primordial Tao alchemy saint. According to this price, it wouldn't be too much for Ning Cheng to ask for 70% elixirs. In fact, Ning Cheng only asked for 40% elixirs. If this wasn't a good price, then what was? Sun Rushuan sighed at the wealth of Pill Sage Ning while taking out a ring and handing it to Ning Cheng. According to Pill Sage Ning, there are 20 cauldrons of elixirs inside. 5 cauldrons of Heavenly Essence Pills and 15 cauldrons of Supreme Palace Heavenly Ice Pills. Ning Cheng took the ring and said, "Okay, then Senior Sister Ru Xian, please come back in a month to collect the elixirs." After sending Sun Rushuan away, Ning Cheng didn't immediately go into seclusion to refine elixirs. Instead, he waited for Gong Shimao. Gong Shimao of the Silver Dragon clan didn't make Ning Cheng wait for long. Almost an hour after Sun Rushuan left, he arrived at the Sword 3 Mountains cave. I wonder what elixir Brother Gong wants to refine? Ning Cheng couldn't wait for Gong Shimao to refine a bunch of Heavenly Essence Pills. That would be the most beneficial thing for him. Gong Shimao didn't even bargain. He directly took out a ring and handed it to Ning Cheng. "Pill Sage Ning, because the sect master is in seclusion, I can't get the top-notch materials. I'm only refining some 9 lives Fire Dragon pills this time." Gong Shimao only wanted to refine elixirs for himself, so Ning Cheng didn't care about it. What puzzled him was that Gong Shimao wanted to refine 9 lives Fire Dragon pills. The 9 lives Fire Dragon pill was indeed a primordial Tao pill, but it was a healing elixir. Only fire-attributed primordial Tao emperors would use 9 lives Fire Dragon pills to repair their foundations. Seeing Ning Cheng's puzzled gaze, Gong Shimao said helplessly, "My main spirit root is fire-attributed, but something went wrong with my cultivation. If I don't repair my foundation, my life would end here." Being able to meet Pill Saint Ning is my greatest fortune. Facing Ning Cheng, he didn't have anything to hide. Ning Cheng was a primordial Dao pill sage. If he asked Ning Cheng to refine 9 lives fire dragon pills and Ning Cheng didn't know about the problem with his foundation, then Ning Cheng, a primordial Dao pill sage, would definitely have a problem. Ning Cheng put away the ring and nodded. Okay, Brother Gong can come to me in a month to collect the elixirs. I'll also take 40% of the elixirs. Chapter 1043. The first pill Ning Cheng refined was the Supreme Palace Heavenly Ice Pill. Relatively speaking, the Supreme Palace Heavenly Ice Pill was a relatively easy primordial Dao pill to refine. Moreover, there were a lot of these medicinal pills, about 15 batches. Ning Cheng had even refined the 6-in Soul pill. Moreover, when he refined the 6-in Soul pill, his understanding of the Tao of alchemy grew even more thorough. He even integrated the Tao of alchemy into the Tao of returning to one. The first half of the Supreme Palace Heavenly Ice Pill was very easy for Ning Cheng. He integrated the divine grasses and Tao fruits, purified the Tao charm laws of the Tao fruits, and refined the impurities. Just an hour later, Ning Cheng began to condense the Tao charm of laws. The most important aspect of the primordial Tao pill was the integration of nomological Tao runes. This was also the reason why it was easier to refine Dao pills with a higher cultivation level. The higher one's cultivation level, the more thorough one's understanding of the various laws of heaven and earth would be. Naturally, it would be easier for one to integrate the nomological Dao runes. Pill saints with low cultivation like Ning Cheng, who only had a Dao sculpting cultivation, would have to rely purely on their understanding of the Tao of alchemy and their control over the Tao charm of the Tao fruit to condense the Tao essence Tao fruit. In the past, when Ning Cheng refined the 6-in Soul pill, it was because he managed to capture the 6-in fruit's Tao charm. However, he didn't have the ability to retain it, which led to him falling into a predicament during the process of refining the pill. At that time, he had the bestowing lawless fruit, which he used to forcibly retain the 6-in fruit's Tao charm. Not only did he successfully refine the 6-in Soul pill, but he also managed to improve his alchemy Tao to the next level. Now, Ning Cheng once again found himself in the same predicament. The main Tao fruits of the Supreme Palace Heavenly Ice Pill were the Supreme Palace Tao fruit and the Heavenly Ice Flower. At this moment, Ning Cheng also managed to capture the Tao charm laws of the Supreme Minute Tao fruit and the Tao charm laws of the Heavenly Ice Flower. However, he couldn't leave behind the Tao charm laws of the 2 Tao fruits. He didn't have the ability to integrate the laws of these 2 Tao fruits into the Supreme Palace Heavenly Ice Pill. But now, he didn't have the bestowing lawless fruit's help. Even if Ning Cheng had the bestowing lawless fruit, he wouldn't use it to refine the Supreme Micro Heavenly Ice Pill. Ning Cheng rarely used pill arts in alchemy, but today he had no choice but to use pill arts in alchemy. All sorts of alchemy Tao runes were sent into the cauldron, and the Supreme Essence Tao fruit laws were forcefully fused. Catcha! Just as the Tao fruit's laws integrated into the Tao core, catcha, sound emerged from the pill furnace. Then all kinds of laws dissipated. No matter how capable Ning Cheng was, he couldn't reverse the situation. The first batch of Supreme Micro Heavenly Ice Pills had failed. Ning Cheng took in a deep breath and closed his eyes for more than an hour before cleaning the pill furnace and taking out the materials for the second batch of Supreme Star Heavenly Ice Pills. 2 hours later, Ning Cheng once again failed to integrate the Tao fruit laws. The second batch of Supreme Micro Heavenly Ice Pills was also wasted. Ning Cheng stood up, but did not continue to refine the third batch of pills. He was sure that even if he refined a third batch of pills, the final result would still be failure. His alchemy standards were sufficient, and he had a sufficient understanding of the Tao runes laws of the primordial Tao pill. He even had the nomological ability to grasp the Tao fruit. His only regret was that his cultivation was too low, and his understanding of the heavenly Tao was too weak. Perhaps he could easily refine a Tao transformation Tao pill, but the primordial Tao pill's heaven-earth law level was far stronger than the Tao transformation Tao pill. If he wanted to refine the Tao transformation Tao pill, he would probably have to advance to the Tao birth divine emperor stage. With about 5 months left before the 5 Realms pill competition, Ning Cheng decided to look for an opportunity to advance to the Tao Birth realm in the Grand Essence Seas Dragon Washing Pool. He had underestimated the primordial Tao pill. Given his current cultivation level, no matter how strong his understanding of the alchemy Tao was, it would be difficult for him to refine the primordial Tao pill. After greeting Ba Meng and the others, Ning Cheng went directly to the place where Cin Rushuan and Gong Shimao lived. He bluntly said that he was afraid that the 1-month deadline was too short. He hoped that the deadline could be pushed back a few months, preferably before the 5 Realms pill competition. Cin Rushuan and Gong Shimao had something to ask of Ning Cheng, so they naturally wouldn't clash with Ning Cheng over a few months. After settling down, Ning Cheng immediately went to the Pill Association's Si Chen Chiu Tian's cave residence. Alchemy Sage Ning, how is Guild Master Ho Tian? Si Chen Chiu Tian saw Ning Cheng come over and immediately asked about Cheng Ho Tian. Ning Cheng quickly saluted and said, "Brother Ho Tian is fine. He is now recovering." Ning Cheng didn't lie to Si Chen Chiu Tian. Si Chen Chiu Tian sighed and said, "Say hello to Ho Tian on my behalf." He didn't continue to ask about Cheng Ho Tian. "Union Master Si Chen, I came here today to tell Union Master something." Ning Cheng did not speak about Cheng Ho Tian anymore. Si Chen Chiu Tian nodded and regained his calm demeanor. "I naturally know that Pill Sage Ning has many matters to attend to. You wouldn't come here to discuss pills with me. In fact, I really want to discuss pills with Pill Sage Ning. When I'm free in the future, I'll definitely explore the Tao of Alchemy with the Association Master. This time, I'm going to leave the Heaven Essence Sacred City and go out to train for a few months." "You're going out to train?" Si Chen Chiu Tian looked at Ning Cheng in doubt. If someone said that Ning Cheng had nothing to do with Cheng Ho Tian's poisoning, he would not believe it. Ning Cheng must have known about this matter, but even after knowing about this matter, Ning Cheng still wanted to go out to train. Wouldn't that be equivalent to deliberately courting death? Without waiting for Ning Cheng to answer, Si Chen's Chiu Tian spoke up again. "Pill Sage Ning, it's only been a few months, and the 5 Realms pill competition is about to begin. If you go out to train now, I'm afraid it will delay the competition." Ning Cheng answered honestly, "I was lucky to refine the 6-yin soul pill last time. In fact, my success rate in refining primordial Tao pills is still too low. It's mainly because my cultivation level is too low. I want to use these few months to advance to the Tao Birth realm. If I can advance to the Tao Birth realm, I'll have a greater chance of refining primordial Tao pills. Otherwise, even if I participate in the 5 Realms pill competition, I'll lose more than I win." This was simply Ning Cheng trying to paste gold on his face. What did he mean by the success rate was too low? His success rate was simply 0. However, Ning Cheng didn't lie about his last sentence. If he couldn't even refine primordial Tao pills in the 5 Realms pill competition, it would be impossible for him to get a ranking. Si Chen Chiu Tian fell silent. Ning Cheng had yet to reach the full circle Tao sculpting realm. In a few months, it would be even more difficult to advance from the peak Tao sculpting realm to the full circle Tao sculpting realm, and then advance to the Tao Birth realm. As for Ning Cheng's words about the low success rate of refining primordial Tao pills and not getting a ranking in the 5 Realms pill competition, Si Chen Chiu Tian knew that it was a fact. Because of this, he had made an exception and asked Ning Cheng to participate in the 5 Realms pill competition. After all, among the 6 people participating in the competition, only Ning Cheng had refined primordial Tao pills. If Ning Cheng wasn't confident, then the rest of them would go in vain. After hesitating for a long time, Si Chen Chiu Tian said, "Ning Cheng, you should know that, given your current realm, it's not very likely for you to advance to the Tao Birth realm before going to the 5 Realms pill competition." Si Chen Chiu Tian's words were tactful. Many people couldn't complete the process of advancing from the peak Tao sculpting realm to the Tao Birth realm without tens of thousands of years. Some people couldn't make it in their entire lives. It would be strange if Ning Cheng could complete it in a few months. "I know, but I'm not willing to give it a try," Ning Cheng said with a bow again. Apart from refining pills for Cin Rushuan and Gong Shimao, Ning Cheng wanted to find an opportunity to reach the Tao Birth realm. The reward for the first place in the 5 Realms pill competition was also crucial. If he couldn't advance to the Tao birth realm and couldn't refine primordial Tao pills, it would be a waste to go. Si Chen Chiu Tian stared at Ning Cheng for a while before standing up and walking around his house for a full incense stick worth of time without speaking. Ning Cheng still had a lot of respect for Si Chen Chiu Tian. When he was about to fail in refining the 6 Yin Soul pill and condensing the Tao fruit law, Si Chen Chiu Tian gave him some pointers. Therefore, Ning Cheng didn't speak while Si Chen Chiu Tian wandered around the house. After half an hour, Si Chen Chiu Tian finally said with determination, "Ning Cheng, I'll take you to a place. Let's go now." Although Si Chen Chiu Tian didn't say where they were going, Ning Cheng didn't ask anything. Half a month later, Si Chen Chiu Tian took Ning Cheng to a barren sea in the Grand Essence Sea. If they went somewhere else, Ning Cheng might have objected. However, Ning Cheng had already planned to come to the Grand Essence Sea's dragon cleansing pool. Therefore, when Si Chen Chiu Tian brought him here, Ning Cheng didn't say anything. "Ning Cheng, do you know which sect is the most mysterious among the 10 major sects?" Standing on the sea, Si Chen Chiu Tian suddenly asked an irrelevant question. Ning Cheng replied, "It should be the Mysterious Crossing Ancient Clan, right? I heard that people from the Mysterious Crossing Ancient Clan never come out. Moreover, their sect is in the Grand Essence Sea." At this point, Ning Cheng suddenly thought of something and looked at Si Chen Chiu Tian in doubt. Si Chen Chiu Tian nodded. "Ning Cheng, you guessed it. The place I brought you to is the Mysterious Crossing Ancient Clan. The Mysterious Crossing Ancient Clan owed my master a favor and said that they could help me 3 times. My master used it twice, but my master left one for me. I never used it." "Association Master, what do you mean?" Ning Cheng suddenly understood why Si Chen Chiu Tian changed calling him Pill Sage Ning to Ning Cheng. It was because he regarded him as one of his own. Si Chen Chiu Tian showed a slight smile. "Yes, I intend to use it on you this time. As for your wish, the Mysterious Crossing Ancient Clan can definitely help you achieve it. Moreover, in the entire Grand Essence realm, perhaps only the Mysterious Crossing Ancient Clan can help you achieve it." Ning Cheng quickly said, "Association Master Si Chen, I can't afford it. If I advance to the Tao birth realm later, it won't affect me too much. At most, I won't be able to participate in the 5 realms pill competition." Si Chen Chiu Tian shook his head. "It might not affect you much, but it would affect me too much. In this 5 realms pill competition, you are the only pill sage who can get a place. If you don't go, it would be the same for me. Rather than helping you, it would be better to say that I'm helping myself." Ning Cheng wasn't a fool. How could he say that he was helping Si Chen Chiu Tian in this matter? After listening to Si Chen Chiu Tian's words, he didn't refuse it again. Instead, he bowed and said, "Okay, if Association Master needs my help in the future, this Ning Cheng will never refuse." Si Chen Chiu Tian nodded in satisfaction and said, "Then let's go in now." This was what he wanted to hear from Ning Cheng. He was also optimistic about Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng's promise might be even more important than the help from the Mysterious Crossing Ancient Clan. Chapter 1044. Sister Chen Chiu Tian took out a transfer jade card and activated it. A ray of light that looked exactly the same as the surrounding seawater wrapped around him and Ning Cheng and instantly teleported them away. Ning Cheng sighed in his heart. The Tao of array formations was the same as the Tao of cultivation. There was no end to it. This transmission array was much more sophisticated than the one used to enter the secret bazaar. He couldn't even see through it, let alone set it up. Sure enough, the stronger one was, the more one would know how weak they were. Moments later, he and Chiu Tian landed on a circular stone platform. Si Chen Chiu Tian waved the teleportation jade token in his hand and laughed at himself. This teleportation token can only be used 3 times. It's useless. Where did you 2 come from? A sudden voice arrived, and then Ning Cheng saw a man with a black fringe on his head appear next to the stone platform. Si Chen Chiu Tian handed the transfer jade token to the man and said, "Pilsex Si Chen Chiu Tian has specially come to pay a visit to the Mysterious Crossing Clan." The man nodded. "Please follow me." Ning Cheng and Si Chen Chiu Tian followed behind this man, but Ning Cheng did not sweep out with his spiritual consciousness. With Ning Cheng's experience, he didn't need to sweep out at all. This place was surrounded by array formations and restrictions. Even if he swept out with his spiritual consciousness, he would not be able to detect anything. At this time, Ning Cheng wasn't even sure if he was still in the Grand Essence Sea. After walking for an incense's time, the man stopped in front of a stone door. He bowed and said, "Alchemy Sect's Si Chen Chiu Tian has brought my mysterious travel clan's teleportation token to visit." After a long while, a voice came from inside the stone door. "There's actually a successor in the alchemy school? Let them in." The man returned the jade token to Chiu Tian. "Please enter." Just as Chiu Tian took the jade token, the stone door suddenly opened. Ning Cheng followed Si Chen Chiu Tian through the door, and suddenly felt a bit stunned. This was not a room, but a huge open public square. The public square was simply too big. Ning Cheng's eyes could not even see the end of it. Ning Cheng secretly muttered in his heart, this was most likely a magical weapon, otherwise it would not have this kind of effect. In the middle of the square, there was a black-haired man. Half of the black-haired man's chest was exposed. He looked like a Shaolin monk. In addition to this, the most attractive thing to Ning Cheng was that this black-haired man had a golden fringe on his forehead. The man who led the way earlier also had a fringe on his forehead. However, the fringe on his forehead wasn't golden, but black. It seemed like the identity of the mysterious crossing ancient clan was determined by the color of their foreheads. As for this man's cultivation, Ning Cheng found that he couldn't see through it. He only knew that it was definitely not any lower than Si Chen's Chiu Tian. "You're Chang Chenxing's disciple?" The gold-rimmed man's gaze fell on Sikhen Chiu Tian. As for Ning Cheng, who stood beside Sikhen Chiu Tian, he completely ignored him. Chiu Tian bowed, "Yes, my master is Chang Chenxing." The man fell silent. After a while, he asked, "I heard that your master died. Is that true?" Ning Cheng secretly thought to himself, this person's words were really direct. In order to pursue the pinnacle of the great Tao, my master has left Grand Plainness for a long time. I don't know the details. Before my master left, he told me that if I encountered any difficult problems in the future, I could take this jade card to the mysterious crossing ancient clan to find Senior Jean Malone. Sikhen Chiu Tian lowered his posture and once again handed over the jade card in his hand. The man nodded and took the jade card. After looking at it for a while, he said, "I'm Jean Malone. Your cultivation isn't any worse than mine, so you don't have to call me senior. What did you come here to ask for?" Sikhen Chiu Tian was the head of the Pill Union. The reason why he respected Jean Malone wasn't because of Jean Malone's status or identity, but because Jean Malone was a friend of his master. Therefore, he naturally had to address him as a senior. Now that Jean Malone said that he didn't need to address him as a senior, Sikhen Chiu Tian naturally wouldn't be pretentious and directly said, "Many thanks, Dao friend Jean. I came here today to request to cultivate on the annual ring for 3 months." "You want to cultivate on the annual ring?" After Jean Malone heard Sikhen Chiu Tian's words, his eyes flashed. He stared at Sikhen Chiu Tian and spoke with a cold tone. Sikhen Chiu Tian's expression didn't change at all. He pointed at Ning Cheng and said calmly, "It's not that I want to cultivate on the annual ring, but he wants to cultivate on the annual ring for 3 months. Jean Malone's gaze then fell on Ning Cheng. After a while, he frowned and said, "He only has a Dao sculpting cultivation, and he wants to cultivate on the annual ring? Do you know the consequences of not being able to control the flow of Dao charm when cultivating on the annual ring?" "I know. Dao friend Jean, can I ask if he can cultivate on the annual ring? If he can't, we will leave immediately. We won't make things difficult for you." Sikhen Chiu Tian spoke in a tone that was neither overbearing nor servile. This token was given by the mysterious fairy clan. If Sikhen Chiu Tian couldn't do anything even with the token, then the mysterious fairy clan's reputation would be completely ruined. Jean Malone clearly understood Sikhen Chiu Tian's meaning. He showed a faint smile and said, "I can't decide on the annual ring alone. Wait a moment. I'll give you an answer after I ask." With that, Jean Malone turned around and left. Ning Cheng saw him turn around, and his figure disappeared without a trace. Although he knew that it was just a trick, Ning Cheng could only watch enviously because he couldn't arrange such an array formation. Union Master, what's an annual ring? Ning Cheng asked. Sikhen Xiao looked in the direction where Jean Malong disappeared and said, the annual ring is the mysterious fairy clan's #1 treasure. It's just a tree. This tree is made up of annual rings. With every annual ring you advance, the passage of time inside doubles compared to the passage of time outside. Ning Cheng asked in surprise, doesn't that mean that if I can enter the 10th annual ring and cultivate inside for 10 years, only 1 year will pass outside? Sikhen Xiao replied with a solemn tone, that's right. If you want to advance to the Dao birth realm in a few months, I can't think of a better place than the annual ring of the mysterious fairy clan. Ning Cheng suddenly recalled what Song Wei had said about the world of law in the void and asked in doubt, I've heard that there are many world of law in the void, including the world of law of time. Once the sect obtains this world of law of time, it can turn it into a holy land for cultivation. In other words, if you cultivate inside for many years, only 1 year will pass outside. The specific time difference is calculated based on the world of law of time. Is the annual ring the same as the world of law of time? Sikhen Xiao shook his head. The world of law of time you mentioned actually exists in the Grand Essence realm. The 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao Pond and the River Luo Sacred Sect have such a world of law of time. If 10 years pass inside, only 1 year will pass outside. However, this world of law of time is completely different from the annual ring because the world of law of time lacks the laws of heaven and earth's Dao charm. Before reaching Dao confirming realm, this world of law of time can save cultivation time. Once one reaches Dao confirming realm, the effects of cultivating in this world of law of time would weaken significantly because of the lack of Dao charm insights. However, annual rings are different. Annual rings are ancient supreme treasures. Even if a Dao confirming realm holy emperor cultivates in it, not only would their comprehension of Dao charm not weaken, but it would also become stronger than outside. Because of this, the ancient fairy clan is a top-notch clan. Of course, the world of law of time also contains the Dao charm of heaven and earth. However, this is no longer a world of law of time, but a supreme treasure not far from the annual ring. Annual rings are so powerful? Then why doesn't the ancient fairy clan come out? Ning Cheng suddenly thought of something. If he had an annual ring in his mysterious yellow bead, wouldn't he be invincible when cultivating? Sikhen Xiao sighed. Everything has its pros and cons. Annual rings are strong, but once someone with a weak Dao insight enters the annual ring and crosses the line of the annual ring that they can't control, they would quickly die of old age due to the loss of Dao charm and turn into a pile of yellow soil to nourish the annual ring tree. I heard that more than half of the genius cultivators in the ancient fairy clan die to annual rings every year. Ning Cheng finally understood the consequences of not being able to control the annual ring's Dao charm. It turned out that the consequences were death. At this point, Sikhen Xiao looked at Ning Cheng with a solemn expression and said, Ning Cheng, since you can refine primordial Dao pills, it means that your control and understanding of your Dao is far stronger than ordinary Dao sculpting holy emperors. Moreover, I've felt your Dao before, and your Dao far surpasses mine. Because of this, I brought you here. I believe that you can reach the 8th annual ring. 3 months have passed outside, and you have cultivated for 2 years in the 8th annual ring. In 2 years, I believe that you should be able to advance to the Dao birth realm. If you can't advance to the Dao birth realm, then let's just go. Thank you, Union Master. Ning Cheng thanked him again. He was sure that Sikhen Xiao didn't want to harm him but sincerely wanted to help him. When he was refining pills, his alchemy Dao would fuse with his returning to one Dao, so Sikhen Xiao would definitely capture his Dao aura. Because of this, Sikhen Xiao believed that he could reach the 8th annual ring. Sikhen Xiao smiled. After reaching the 8th annual ring, you can't take another step forward no matter what. Remember, even if you're sure that you can move forward, don't move forward. Everyone who perishes under the annual ring is confident that nothing will go wrong, but in the end, something went wrong. If a cultivator can't control his greed, then his achievements will stop at his greed. Ning Cheng smiled but didn't answer. Sikhen Chiotian's words were not wrong. If one couldn't control their greed, they might die because of it. However, it wasn't Sikhen Chiotian who decided which step he could reach, but he himself. If he thought that he could reach the 9th annual ring, he naturally wouldn't stay at the 8th annual ring. If he thought that he could only reach the 7th annual ring, he wouldn't have gone to the 8th annual ring like Sikhen Chiotian had said. Fortunately, Jean Malong appeared again and said to Sikhen Chiotian, "You can wait here. This Taoist who wants to cultivate his annual ring will come with me." Ning Cheng, remember my words. Your steps must stop at your Tao heart, Sikhen Chiotian reminded Ning Cheng again. Ning Cheng bowed and said, "Rest assured, Union Master. My steps are in my heart." When Jean Malong heard Ning Cheng's words, he showed a hint of appreciation and turned around again. Ning Cheng followed Jean Malong and took a step forward before disappearing from the public square. Chapter 1045. Ning Cheng followed behind Jean Malong, but after taking a few steps, Jean Malong suddenly stopped. Ning Cheng looked around again, and found that the huge public square had long since disappeared, and he found himself standing on a piece of verdant turf. A dozen meters ahead, there was a giant tree. Ning Cheng stared at the giant tree in front of him, and a strange feeling rose in his heart. Since becoming a starry sky cultivator, Ning Cheng had seen many strange things. To be honest, this was the first time he had seen a transparent tree. Ning Cheng did not know how thick this tree was. He only knew that he could not see the opposite side of the tree, nor could he see the left and right sides. He could only see a slight arc in front of him, which was just a small part of the transparent tree. Although he said that this tree was transparent, Ning Cheng could clearly see what was inside the tree. The things that Ning Cheng could see, in fact, were only circular areas. Ning Cheng thought to himself, the tree rings on earth, he wondered if it was because of this tree. Because the rings on this transparent tree were almost the same as the tree rings on a tree. He could see the rings on the outside, but he could not see anything inside. Looking up, he could vaguely see some transparent branches extending out, but he could not see the top. Tree rings, this tree was called a tree ring, which was really appropriate. What puzzled Ning Cheng was that when his eyes fell on this tree, he could not feel even the slightest Tao charm aura. As for his spiritual consciousness, it disappeared after sweeping through this transparent tree, completely useless. This is the tree ring. Go inside and cultivate. Remember, 3 months have passed outside, and you must come out. As for the time, you can calculate it yourself. Jean Malong spoke very simply. After saying this sentence, he turned around and left, not giving Ning Cheng a chance to ask a single question. Ning Cheng did not care about it. He walked to the edge of the outermost ring mark of the tree. Although his mysterious yellow bead had not been completely perfected, it could still mobilize the origin aura for cultivation. Now that he used the tree ring and the origin aura to cultivate, how far could he go after 3 months? No matter how far he could go, Ning Cheng would not miss this opportunity. He lifted his foot and stepped into the first ring mark of the tree ring. A powerful force rushed over. This force could clearly be felt, but it was invisible. Ning Cheng felt that the grand Tao charm in his body was about to dissipate under the impact of this aura. Then, it followed this aura and flowed into the wheel marks of the growth rings. An ancient aura swept over, causing Ning Cheng's entire body to tremble. He stopped in his tracks and suddenly felt a kind of enlightenment in his heart. That was not a comprehension of the great Tao, but a comprehension of the laws of time. He finally understood the danger of the tree rings. Once he failed to restrain his Tao runes of the great Tao, his Tao runes of the great Tao would flow into the tree rings along with the Tao runes of the tree rings. In the end, his entire body and soul would dissipate into nothingness. The mysterious yellow formless cultivation method quickly adapted to the changes in the surrounding Tao charm laws, allowing Ning Cheng's Tao charm to stabilize and no longer change along with the changes in the Tao charm within his annual rings. The moment Ning Cheng stabilized his Tao, he felt the endless rich spiritual qi and the flawless Tao charm of heaven and earth. Not only was the heaven and earth Tao law perfect, but the surrounding vitality was also extremely dense. Sure enough, it was a tree. If it wasn't a tree, how could it have such a rich Tao charm and vitality? Ning Cheng stood in the first circle of the wheel marks for a full hour before slowly turning his head back. The scenery behind him had long since disappeared, and the grassland he had just come from had also disappeared without a trace. An hour later, Ning Cheng slowly walked through the first circle of the wheel marks and stepped into the second. The spiritual qi became denser, the vitality became more intense, the Tao charm flowed more violently, and the laws of heaven and earth became more perfect. Apart from the moment of discomfort, Ning Cheng's mysterious yellow formless quickly integrated with the surrounding Tao charm laws. Ning Cheng once again adapted to the aura that impacted the foundation of Ning Cheng's Tao charm. Ning Cheng's eyes flashed with an indescribable surprise. He had once felt this kind of cultivation feeling in the dragon cleansing pool. However, it was completely different from the dragon cleansing pool. The dragon cleansing pool targeted his corporeal body, while this place focused on perfecting and comprehending the Tao. The world was vast, and it really wasn't something he could understand. He had thought that he had the mysterious yellow bead, which was already a stroke of luck. But who knew that there were many things in this world? Although they weren't as good as the mysterious yellow bead, they were still treasures of heaven and earth. He knew about the dragon cleansing pool, the life rings, and the reincarnation pool of the 9 revolving sacred Tao pond. But how many more did he not know? The longer time passed, the clearer Ning Cheng felt his perception of the laws of time. Although he was reluctant to leave the second circle of the life ring, he still walked out of the second circle and stepped into the third circle. He only had 3 months. Every time he moved forward, he would gain 3 more months, and the time Tao charm aura in the life ring would become more distinct. Unconsciously, Ning Cheng forgot about Si Chen Chiu Tian's words about stopping at the Tao heart. Even if it was him, he just wanted to move forward 1 more circle, which would give him 3 more months. In a simple cave in the mysterious crossing ancient clan's sacred land, a white-haired old man sat cross-legged on an ancient praying mat. His upper body also revealed half of his chest. However, the half of his chest that was exposed, apart from his ribs, only had a layer of brown skin. Did he enter the life ring? The old man suddenly asked. Jean Malong's voice and figure appeared in the cave at the same time. Yes, clan head. He's already in the life ring. I estimate that he should be able to enter the 6th circle in 3 months. Si Chen Chiu Tian, like Ning Cheng, also didn't know about the life ring. Si Chen Chiu Tian thought that as long as he reached the strength to cultivate in the 8th circle of the life ring, he could directly enter the 8th circle of the life ring and go into secluded cultivation. In fact, every time the life ring moved forward, it took a lot of time. To enter the next circle of the life ring, one must perfectly match one's Tao laws with the Tao charm flow of the life ring. Only then could one enter the next circle. Otherwise, the changes in the flow of time and the changes in the Tao charm laws of the life ring could tear a person to pieces. The old man nodded. Tao sculpting realm, it's not bad to enter the 6th circle in 3 months. Sigh. The old man gave a long sigh in the end. Jean Malong naturally understood what the clan head meant. Ever since the Great Change, the mysterious crossing ancient clan went into seclusion. The mysterious crossing ancient clan went into seclusion not because they were afraid of trouble but because they wanted to accumulate power. After all, the mysterious crossing ancient clan had lost a lot of power. But after so many years, the mysterious crossing ancient clan didn't become stronger because of seclusion. Not even a few geniuses appeared. Occasionally, some geniuses would either fall in the life ring, vanish from the crowd for other reasons, or their Tao would collapse. But now, Si Chen Chiu Tian brought a Tao sculpting divine emperor to the mysterious crossing ancient clan to ask for the life ring to cultivate. One had to know that although the mysterious crossing ancient clan went into seclusion, there were still a few disciples who hid their identities outside. A mere Tao sculpting divine emperor wasn't allowed to leave the mysterious crossing ancient clan. A Tao sculpting divine emperor, who wasn't allowed to leave the mysterious crossing ancient clan, came to the mysterious crossing ancient clan and asked to enter the life ring to cultivate. Jean Malong didn't know how to comfort the clan head, so he also fell silent. Time slowly passed. After an unknown amount of time, the white-haired clan head suddenly asked, Malong, is it inappropriate for the mysterious crossing ancient clan to go into seclusion? Jean Malong hesitated for a moment before saying, to walk out of the mysterious crossing ancient clan, one has to at least be in the primordial Tao realm. As a result, not many people can walk out of the mysterious crossing ancient clan. On the contrary, many outstanding disciples fall in the life ring. The life ring is the mysterious crossing ancient clan's supreme treasure and also the foundation of the mysterious crossing ancient clan's strength. However, I feel that it has become a shackle to the mysterious crossing ancient clan. It has caused the mysterious crossing ancient clan's experts to wither day by day. Clearly, he didn't approve of seclusion. The white-haired clan head fell silent again. After half an incense stick's worth of time, he suddenly raised his head and looked outside the cave abode. His face was filled with shock as he suddenly stood up. Clan head, what's going on? Seeing the clan head's expression, Jean Malong asked in surprise. What's that person's name? The Tao sculpting divine emperor that you just brought into the life ring. The white-haired clan head's voice even trembled slightly. Jean Malong quickly replied, I didn't ask. I heard Si Chen Chiu Tian call him Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng, Ning Cheng. The white-haired clan head muttered twice before saying, hurry up and call Si Chen Chiu Tian, who brought Ning Cheng here. No, I'll go over myself, clan head. Jean Malong felt even more confused. The white-haired clan head pointed outside the cave abode with a trembling hand. How long has it been? That Ning Cheng is about to step out of my range of sight. This time, it was Jean Malong's turn to be shocked. He knew that the clan head could see within his range of sight. The clan head cultivated in the life ring all year round, so he could see the first 8 rings of the life ring. Once one stepped into the 9th ring, even the clan head wouldn't be able to see it from the outside. Only by entering the life ring tree could one know the situation. The white-haired clan head's tone calmed down a bit. It hasn't even been 4 hours since that Ning Cheng entered the life ring. Ning Cheng might spend a bit more time in the life ring, but it shouldn't be more than a day. A Tao sculpting divine emperor can enter the 8th ring from the 1st ring in a day. Does our mysterious crossing ancient clan have such a thing? Ning Cheng had indeed reached the 8th ring. Every time he entered a deeper layer of the life ring, Ning Cheng felt that he had gained more. Because of this, he couldn't wait to enter a deeper layer of the life ring. Just as he stepped into the 8th ring, he felt the surrounding Tao charm draining away his entire body. He could even clearly feel the passage of time and feel his life being sucked away by the life ring. He felt as if he was about to be squeezed into pieces by the changes between the 7th and 8th ring. This extreme change in the Tao charm laws made him feel extremely uncomfortable. However, his mysterious yellow formless cultivation method was formless and formless. No matter where he cultivated, the mysterious yellow formless cultivation method could change with the surrounding spiritual qi, the laws of heaven and earth, and the passage of time. This problem, which was extremely difficult for others, did not exist for Ning Cheng. He could stabilize his Taoist aura in the shortest time possible and become one with the surrounding environment after entering any of the circles of the annual rings. Ning Cheng had never entered a life ring before. Now that he stabilized the 8th ring, he didn't feel his Tao charm dissipating. At this moment, he didn't hesitate and directly stepped into the 9th ring. Chapter 1046. Ning Cheng almost couldn't hold back his Tao charm and wanted to rush into the flow of time. Fortunately, he managed to calm his mind in time. Despite the impact of the time rings, he remained motionless. Time flew like an arrow, and the years flew like a shuttle. In the end, it was just a trace in the laws of time. His sunset's twilight was also a trace in the laws of time. It's just that the traces had different depths, and the laws had different heights. If the 9th ring of the time rings was just like this, then why not take it a step further? In the middle of the endless public square, Si Chen Chiu Tian sat alone on the ground. He seemed to have sunk into the surrounding space and didn't show any fluctuations. Tao friend Si Chen. Jean Malong's greeting interrupted Si Chen Chiu Tian's meditation. He suddenly stood up, and 2 rays of light shot out from his eyes. When he came to the mysterious crossing ancient clan, he already knew the rules here. The mysterious crossing ancient clan lived in seclusion in the Grand Essence Sea and never had any friendship to speak of. He brought Ning Qing here to ask for the time rings to cultivate. In fact, the moment Jean Malong took Ning Qing away, the transaction ended. At the end of the 3 months, before he and Ning Qing left the mysterious crossing ancient clan, Jean Malong shouldn't have come to speak to him. But now that Jean Malong came out, the only possible reason was that something happened to Ning Qing in the time rings. But Ning Qing hadn't even entered the time rings for a day, so how could something happen so early? Based on his understanding of Ning Qing, this shouldn't have happened. Dao friend Jean, is it about Ning Qing? Si Chen Chiu Tian found his heart in chaos for the first time since he entered the mysterious crossing ancient clan. Only then did he realize how much he valued Ning Qing. Yes, but also wrong. A white-haired old man standing next to Jean Malong suddenly spoke up with a smile. When he saw Si Chen Chiu Tian's gaze land on him, he gave a polite greeting and said, "Mysterious crossing ancient clans Li Feng greets Dao friend Si Chen." Si Chen Chiu Tian felt shocked. He only realized that Jean Malong didn't come alone. Before the white-haired old man Li Feng greeted him, he seemed to have merged with everything around him. But when he spoke, his entire person became clear. "Dao friend Si Chen, this is the patriarch of my mysterious crossing clan." Jean Malong hurriedly explained when he saw Si Chen and Chiu Tian's shock. Si Chen Chiu Tian hurriedly bowed. Si Chen Chiu Tian greets Clan Leader Li. Clan Leader Li's cultivation is extraordinary and you must have already reached Dao integration. I was ignorant and didn't notice it just now. Please forgive me. Ah. Li Feng laughed and immediately sat on the ground. "Fellow Daoist Si Chen, please take a seat." Chiu Tian didn't mind Li Feng asking him to sit on the ground. He had been sitting on the ground the entire time. After Si Chen, Chiu Tian, and Jean Malong sat down, Li Feng sighed and said, "Dao integration is very difficult. I'm afraid it will be difficult for me to do it again in this lifetime." Chiu Tian was a little surprised to hear that Li Feng wasn't a Dao integration stage Holy Emperor. He had seen far too many chaotic essence Holy Emperors. However, there had never been a primordial chaos sacred emperor as strong as Li Feng. It seemed that even though they were both at primordial chaos, the difference in strength could be so huge. Since Li Feng admitted that he hadn't reached Dao integration, Chiu Tian didn't know what to say. Just when he wanted to ask Ning Qing about it, Li Feng suddenly asked, "That Ning Qing who came with you, is he your disciple?" Chiu Tian quickly asked, "Clan leader, what's the matter with Ning Qing now?" Li Feng smiled slightly, "Fellow Daoist Si Chen, don't panic. Ning Qing is cultivating in the life ring. There's nothing wrong. I just came to ask if Ning Qing has anything to do with you." Chiu Tian didn't know what Li Feng meant, so he had to speak the truth. "Dao friend Ning Qing has amazing talent. How can I, Chiu Tian, cultivate such a disciple?" "So, he's a rogue cultivator?" Li Feng's tone even carried a hint of surprise. Chiu Tian, an old fox who had cultivated for many years, vaguely understood Li Feng's meaning. Ning Qing's performance in the life ring had most likely moved the mysterious crossing clan's clan leader, and he wanted Ning Qing to become a disciple of the mysterious crossing clan. Understanding this, Chiu Tian replied with peace of mind, "Ning Qing is my Grand Essence Realm's premier pill sage. He once refined the 6 soul pill. This time, he wants to represent my Grand Essence Realm in the 5 Realms pill competition. Because of his lack of strength, I thought of bringing him to your clan's life ring for cultivation." "Refine the 6 soul pill?" Li Feng and Jean Malong asked almost at the same time. They weren't ignorant people. How could they not know what the 6 soul pill was? It was a primordial Dao pill, and not an ordinary primordial Dao pill. Li Feng sighed secretly. Ning Qing's achievements were already so high, yet he still wanted Ning Qing to become a disciple of the mysterious crossing clan. No wonder Ning Qing had no relationship with Chiu Tian, and Chiu Tian was willing to use his only chance to bring him to the mysterious crossing clan's life ring for cultivation. In a place like the Grand Essence Realm with incomplete laws, Dao pills were even more important if one wanted to comprehend higher realms. Ning Qing was a primordial Dao pill sage. Why would he need the mysterious Crossing clan to rope him in? Not to mention becoming a disciple of the mysterious Crossing clan. Li Feng couldn't even say such words. Stepping into the 10th wheel mark of the life ring, Ning Cheng had already prepared himself for the sudden impact of the Tao charm of the passing of time. After experiencing the previous few wheel marks, Ning Cheng knew how crazy this Tao charm could be. Moreover, the mysterious yellow formless circulated around his body at all times and revolved around his returning to one Tao charm. What surprised Ning Cheng was that the Tao charm of the 10th wheel mark felt extremely warm. Since entering the life ring, Ning Cheng had never felt this kind of integration with the Tao charm of the life ring. It was like a reincarnation. From the first wheel mark of the life ring to the 10th wheel mark, it was a reincarnation. Here, he could feel a sense of a new beginning, a joy of integration. Ning Cheng felt sure that if he wanted to, he could enter the 11th wheel mark of the life ring, or even a higher level wheel mark. However, Ning Cheng didn't take another step forward. Instead, he sat down. This was the place he wanted to cultivate. As Ning Cheng sat down and operated the mysterious yellow formless to cultivate, the God's spiritual chi of the 10th wheel mark of the life ring crazily poured in. It was like all living things returning to their nests and gathered around Ning Cheng. All the origin and the surrounding God's spiritual chi blended in perfectly, constantly improving Ning Cheng's understanding of the returning to one Tao. As time slowly flowed by, Ning Cheng completely immersed himself in the life ring. He saw countless powerhouses fighting in front of a gate, and he even saw Tsang Wei. None of the powerhouses here were weaker than him. Some of them were even stronger than him. Even if he had the mysterious yellow bead, even if he cultivated to his peak, he could only watch himself fall in front of this gate. Then his eyes slowly blurred, and he saw himself reincarnating into a broken world where he couldn't cultivate. The first person he saw after his reincarnation was not his sister Ruolan, nor was it Luofei or Qianghua, nor was it Yanji. He was shocked to see Yu Qing. "It's you?" Ning Cheng suddenly sat up. "Do you know me?" Yu Qing frowned slightly. After asking, she didn't wait for Ning Cheng to speak and muttered to herself, "You seem a bit familiar." "Why am I here?" Ning Cheng quickly asked. Yu Qing shook her head and was about to say something when her whole body suddenly blurred. When Ning Cheng opened his eyes again, he had already experienced another round of reincarnation. He saw himself fighting in the endless battlefield, and saw countless familiar friends and brothers fall. Finally, a long spear pierced his chest. Another reincarnation. Peddlers and pawns, emperors and generals. He had been an outer disciple in an ordinary sect, struggling on the edge, and finally killed while snatching spiritual grasses. He worked hard between heaven and earth, but after a year's harvest, he couldn't feed his family. Finally, he became an emperor, but he didn't enjoy it for a few days before he was once again thrown off the throne by the rebel army. Endless reincarnation, endless pain. No, I don't want this painful reincarnation. In the entire world, he was the only one crying out. No one echoed him, no end. 1,000 Tao reincarnations had no beginning and end. He fell into an endless reincarnation. He wanted to find the answer and stop this reincarnation, but he couldn't do it. He could only think about it. "Give me a reason to stop this reincarnation." Ning Cheng roared out in anger. He had enough. However, he could only feel anger. The powerful Tao charm around him was not something he could control. As if alarmed by Ning Cheng's angry will, the ring in his hands suddenly exploded, and everything inside the ring turned into nothingness. There was only a black slip made of an unknown material floating in front of him. This was the Karma Tao strip that Jiang Man had lent him. The Karma Tao strip contained the Tao of Karma. Did it want him to cultivate the Tao of Karma? Ning Cheng had just thought of this, when an earth-shattering roaring was swept over him. Heaven and earth had reincarnation, and everything was karma. Sure enough, it wanted him to cultivate the Tao of Karma. Ning Cheng's mind instantly cleared up. This Karma Tao strip could explode his ring, and it came out at this time. From this, it showed that the origin of this Tao strip wasn't simple. Ning Cheng suddenly felt a lingering fear. If his mysterious yellow bead hadn't taken its embryonic form because of the chaos chi of the 5 elements, he wouldn't have been able to put the true spirit world into the mysterious yellow bead. Similarly, Yanji wouldn't have been able to enter the mysterious yellow bead. If the Karma Dao strip came out and affected his Dao foundation and forced him to change his Dao, it wouldn't just be an ordinary ring and a bunch of spirit crystals and pills, but his true spirit world. Once his true spirit world exploded, what would happen to Yanji? Ning Cheng's back oozed cold sweat. The Dao of Karma was about to choose a successor, and it just so happened that it had chosen him. But he had always cultivated the mysterious yellow formless, so how could he cultivate the Dao of Karma? The Dao charm of samsara once again appeared. It showed that if he didn't change his Dao of Karma, he would once again fall into an endless cycle of reincarnation. I do want to cultivate the Karma Dao strip, but it's not the Dao of Karma, but the Grand Karma Spirit technique. My Dao is the Dao of returning to one, and my cultivation method is the mysterious yellow formless. 1,000 Dao reincarnations have no beginning and end, and all karma return to one. The Dao charm of Ning Cheng's spiritual platform instantly became clear, and the Dao sense roared around him, suppressing the Dao charm of samsara. Your reincarnation has no beginning and end, and your karma is endless. Return to one. Chapter 1047. Boom! At that moment, Ning Cheng felt his entire body rumble as a clear and powerful great Dao power poured into him. The entire heaven and earth became clear as surging Dao runes condensed. The embryonic form of the return to one Dao finally appeared. Ning Cheng slowly stood up, and his eyes regained their calm. 3 months were about to pass. Under the influence of the Karma Dao slip, his spirituality had erupted and he had an instant epiphany. Finally, he had succeeded in Dao birth. Once he reached Dao birth, his Dao runes became extremely solid and showed no signs of instability. Although he was only at the early stage Dao birth, the Dao runes flowed smoothly like someone who had reached Dao birth for many years. They were one with his body and did not feel abrupt at all. During the 2 or 3 years in the tree ring, he seemed to have only done one thing, which was reincarnation after reincarnation. It was not until the last moment that he suddenly had an epiphany and advanced to Dao birth. During this period, he did not use any Dao pills or any external objects. He only relied on his epiphany. Ning Cheng did not look into the depths of the tree ring. During the cultivation of the 10th ring mark, he knew that he could not reach the end of the tree ring. Previously, he had thought that he could go deeper, but that view might not be right. Going deeper did not mean that he could cultivate in a more stable manner, nor did it mean that he could integrate into the Dao runes and laws of the tree ring. The tree ring was not as simple as he had imagined. Perhaps it was a kind of luck that he had stayed in the 10th ring and not entered the 11th ring. It was a kind of luck that had saved his life. Ning Cheng did not cultivate the Karma Grand spiritual ability. If he wanted to cultivate such a spiritual ability now, his understanding of the Dao runes and laws was far from enough. He took out a ring again and put the Karma Dao slip inside. Although Ning Cheng knew that no matter how strong the Karma Dao slip was, it could not destroy his mysterious yellow bead, he still did not put it inside. After all, he had borrowed this Dao slip. Sooner or later, it would escape from his ring and go find Jiang Man, Union Master. Ning Cheng walked out of the tree ring and found Si Chen Chiu Tian standing on the green grass again. Not only was Si Chen Chiu Tian here, but Jean Malong, who had brought him into the tree ring, was also here. Besides Si Chen Chiu Tian and Jean Malong was a white-haired old man. Looking at this white-haired old man, Ning Cheng had a feeling in his heart that this person was definitely a powerhouse. His strength definitely far surpassed that of Situ Chen, Chiu Tian and Jean Malong. Ning Cheng, you really did it. When Minister Chiu Tian saw Ning Cheng, he knew that Ning Cheng had successfully reached the Dao birth realm. Not only did he succeed in Dao birth, but Ning Cheng's Grand Dao's Dao charm was also very condensed. Congratulations on reaching the Dao birth, Dao friend Ning. Jean Malong was the first to greet Ning Cheng. Si Chen Chiu Tian quickly spoke up, Ning Cheng, this is Patriarch Li Feng of the mysterious crossing ancient clan. He has been waiting for you for 2 days. No wonder he's so powerful. He's actually the patriarch of the mysterious Crossing clan. I wonder if he's already reached Dao integration long ago. Ning Cheng had seen Dao perfection powerhouses before, but unfortunately, Ancestor Kang's cultivation hadn't recovered at all. Therefore, Ning Cheng didn't know how strong a Dao perfection powerhouse was. Greetings, patriarchally, greetings, fellow Daoist Jin. It's all thanks to the mysterious fairy ancient clan's life ring tree that I was able to successfully reach the Dao birth. Although Ning Cheng knew that the opportunity for him to cultivate was given to him by Si Chen Chiu Tian, he still wanted to express his gratitude. This time, when he advanced to the Dao birth realm, his harvest in the life ring was truly extraordinary. What's more, Ning Cheng still thought that it would be great if he had the opportunity to cultivate in the life ring tree in the future. With so many powerful opponents, he urgently needed to improve his cultivation level, and the life ring tree was simply a treasure tailor-made for him. Unfortunately, the life ring wasn't his, and the conditions for entering the life ring tree to cultivate seemed a bit high. What made him feel even more helpless was that he didn't have any friendship with the mysterious fairy ancient clan. Dao friend Ning, you're too polite. Dao friend Ning managed to reach the Dao birth realm in such a short time because of your talent and qualifications. Even without the life ring, Dao friend Ning could easily achieve this. If Dao friend Ning doesn't mind, you can come to my mysterious fairy ancient clan as a guest at any time in the future. Li Feng was extremely polite to Ning Cheng and spoke in a warm tone. Jean Malong waited for Li Feng to finish speaking before quickly taking out a jade card and handing it to Ning Cheng. Dao friend Ning, this is my mysterious fairy ancient clan's teleportation jade card. As the patriarch said, you can come to my mysterious fairy ancient clan as a guest at any time in the future. Just as he was worried about not having any friendship with the mysterious fairy ancient clan, the mysterious fairy ancient clan sent him a jade card? Ning Cheng looked at Si Chen Chiu Tian in doubt. He had nothing to do with the mysterious fairy ancient clan, so why was the mysterious fairy ancient clan so polite to him? He knew that it wasn't easy for the mysterious fairy ancient clan to come in. Si Chen Chiu Tian saw Ning Cheng looking at him and smiled. Patriarchally, you don't have to decline this kind offer. If possible, help the mysterious fairy ancient clan refine a few cauldrons of Dao pills in the future. So that was the case. Ning Cheng finally understood. Si Chen Chiu Tian must have mentioned his identity as a primordial Dao pill saint, and the mysterious fairy ancient clan wanted to rope him in, which was why they gave him the jade card. After Ning Cheng understood this, he quickly took the jade card and said, "Many thanks, patriarchally. Many thanks, Dao friend Jean." He wondered how many times he could enter the mysterious fairy ancient clan with this jade card. However, he definitely couldn't say this out loud. Although Ning Cheng was a primordial Dao pill saint, he didn't particularly care about Dao pills. He had successfully reached the Dao birth realm in the life ring tree, so he didn't use any Dao pills. Moreover, he felt that he didn't need Dao pills. Instead, he could rely on his understanding of the Grand Dao and the laws of heaven and earth to advance. Ning Cheng also knew that not everyone could be as heaven-defying as him. Most people had to rely on comprehending the laws of Dao pills to advance. In fact, Ning Cheng and Si Chen Chiu Tian had guessed wrong this time. Although the mysterious fairy ancient clan wanted to befriend Ning Cheng, this wasn't the main reason. The mysterious fairy ancient clan valued Dao pills, but like Ning Cheng, they didn't need Dao pills. Instead, they relied on their own understanding of the laws of heaven and earth to advance. Li Feng didn't explain Si Chen Chiu Tian's words. Seeing Ning Cheng take the jade card, he nodded and said with a smile, "In the future, my mysterious fairy ancient clan might have disciples outside. If they encounter any difficulties, I hope that Dao friend Ning can lend them a hand." The mysterious fairy ancient clan wasn't secluded anymore? Ning Cheng felt very puzzled, but he still quickly said, "If I have the fate to meet the disciples of the mysterious fairy ancient clan, Ning Cheng will definitely treat them sincerely." Because of Li Feng's enthusiasm, Ning Cheng and Si Chen Chiu Tian were treated as distinguished guests of the mysterious fairy ancient clan. They stayed for another day before being sent away from the clan. By the time Ning Cheng and Si Chen Chiu Tian returned to the Heaven Essence Sacred City, It had only been a little more than a month since the 5 Realms pill competition. Because Cheng Hotian stayed in the Heaven Essence Sacred City, Ba Meng, who was worried about his son, Ba Luo, had already left. Time was of the essence. After Ning Cheng greeted Cheng Hotian and the others, he immediately went into seclusion to start refining pills. This time, he still refined the Supreme Micro Heavenly Ice Pill. Ning Cheng had refined 2 furnaces of Supreme Micro Heavenly Ice Pills in the past. Although he had failed both times, he had accumulated some experience. This time, when he advanced to the Dao Birth Realm, his strength had soared, and he could control the laws of heaven and earth's Dao charm more freely. In just half an hour, Ning Cheng started to grab the Supreme Micro Dao Fruit and Sky Ice Words Dao Fruit Laws. Ning Cheng finally managed to retain the Dao Fruit Laws that had previously collapsed on contact and integrated them into the Dao Pill. Another half an hour later, Ning Cheng pulled out 12 Supreme Micro Heavenly Ice Pills from the pill furnace and put them into the jade bottle. 3 high-grade, 4 medium-grade, 5 low-grade, and no special-grade medicinal pills. However, Ning Cheng felt extremely excited. In a sense, this was the first furnace of primordial Dao pills he refined. The reason why he couldn't refine any special-grade medicinal pills was because he didn't have enough strength. If he had grown stronger, combined with his understanding of the Tao of alchemy, he could have even refined 12 special-grade medicinal pills. In just 4 days, Ning Cheng finished refining the rest of the Supreme Micro Heavenly Ice Pills. In the last few furnaces of Supreme Micro Heavenly Ice Pills, Ning Cheng controlled the number of special-grade medicinal pills in each furnace to around 90%. For a primordial Dao pill sage, this result was worth showing off. Refining the 9 Lives Fire Dragon pill was slightly more difficult than refining the Supreme Micro Heavenly Ice pill. But with the experience of refining the Supreme Micro Heavenly Ice pill, Ning Cheng successfully refined all 5 furnaces of 9 Lives Fire Dragon pills without a single failure. Each furnace of special-grade medicinal pills also maintained around 90%. Ning Cheng left the Heaven Essence Heavenly Pill for last. Not only was this pill the most difficult to refine out of the 3 Dao pills he wanted to refine, but more importantly, the materials needed to refine this pill were just too precious. There were 2 main types of Dao fruits for the Heaven Essence Dao pill. One was the Heaven Essence fruit, and the other was the Supreme Yin Sacred fruit. The Heaven Essence fruit was of the Yang attribute and carried a strong Sun Dao charm law. The Supreme Yin Sacred fruit was of the Yin attribute and carried a similarly strong Extreme Yin Dao charm law. The most important thing for refining a Dao pill was to integrate the Dao charm law from the Dao fruit into the Dao pill. If it could remain intact, it would be the most perfect Dao pill. Ning Cheng only had 5 furnaces of divine grass materials for the Heaven Essence Heavenly Pill. Unlike other Dao pills, Dao fruits and law divine grasses were the most difficult to find in other Dao pills. Not only were the Heaven Essence fruit and the Supreme Yin Sacred fruit difficult to find, but there were also more than a dozen auxiliary divine grasses that were extremely difficult to find. Therefore, Ning Cheng was extremely careful when he started refining the Heaven Essence Heavenly Pill. Even if it was just an auxiliary divine grass, he handled each one with extreme caution. With Ning Cheng's level in the Tao of alchemy, he had no problems refining the Heaven Essence Heavenly Pill. When extracting the Heaven Essence fruit and the Supreme Yin Sacred fruits laws, although it was a bit difficult, Ning Cheng still managed to do it. But when he integrated the 2 kinds of Dao charm law into the Dao pill, Ning Cheng couldn't even stop it. The Dao charm law of the Heaven Essence fruit and the Supreme Yin Sacred fruit directly collapsed. The first furnace of the Heaven Essence Heavenly Pill failed unexpectedly. Before this, Ning Cheng never thought that the Heaven Essence Heavenly Pill would fail in such a way. Even if he refined the 6 Yin Soul pill, he wouldn't have failed without any resistance before taking out the bestowing lawless fruit. The failure of the first furnace of the Heaven Essence Heavenly Pill cast a shadow over Ning Cheng's heart. The reason for this was that he had a reason for every previous failure. But this time, he didn't know the reason. He only had 5 furnaces of the Heaven Essence Heavenly Pill in total. If he failed again, he would have to succeed in the remaining 3 furnaces of medicinal pills. Chapter 1048. Ningcheng did not dare to continue to refine the second batch of Heaven Yuan heavenly pills, before he was able to find out the reason behind it. Even if he tried to refine 100 batches of Heaven Yuan heavenly pills, he was afraid that it would still end in failure. Ever since he had learned alchemy, this was the first time he had encountered such a situation. After failing, he did not know the reason. The heavenly heaven pill was very precious, but this kind of pill formula was not precious. Basically, all the major sects knew about it. Therefore, Ningcheng did not doubt that there was a problem with the pill recipe. His attainment in the Tao of alchemy most likely stood at the pinnacle of the entire grand essence realm. Now that he encountered a problem he couldn't solve, apart from constantly failing several times to find the cause, he could only ask Sichen Qiutian, who was also a legendary Tao essence pill saint. Otherwise, there really wasn't any other way to solve it. Seeing that Ningcheng had come to find him again, Sichen Qiutian felt very happy. This showed that Ningcheng had a place for him in his heart. Otherwise, he wouldn't have come looking for him, Sichen Qiutian, whenever there was a problem. Ningcheng, what kind of problem did you come looking for me this time? The 5 Realms pill competition was about a month away. Did you come here to discuss the Tao of alchemy with me? Sichen Qiutian happily invited Ningcheng into the guest room. After Ningcheng gave a salute, he spoke, "Association head, I encountered a problem during the process of alchemy, and would like to consult with Association head." "Oh, tell me about it." Sichen Qiutian's face turned solemn. He had personally witnessed Ningcheng's attainments in the Tao of alchemy. Even if it was him, he would not be able to refine the 16 soul pill, but Ningcheng was actually able to refine it. Not only did he refine them, they were all top-notch pills. Ningcheng sat down and said, "I promised Tao friend Sun Rushuan of the Sunken Fish Palace to refine 5 furnaces of Heaven Essence Tao pills for her. Now that I've refined the first furnace, I've failed. Failure isn't a big deal, but I don't even know where I failed." After listening to Ningcheng's words, Sichen Qiutian remained silent for a long time before saying with a long sigh, "Ningcheng, everyone knows that I'm a primordial Tao alchemy saint, but everyone knows that I never refine pills for others. Do you know why?" Ningcheng shook his head. "I don't know." Qiutian sighed again. "The reason why I don't refine pills for others is because of the heavenly heaven pill." Seeing Ningcheng looking at him with a puzzled expression, Sichen Qiutian spoke up in a low voice, "I have refined a total of 51 sets of heavenly heaven essence pills." Ningcheng was truly shocked this time. How could Ningcheng not know the value of the Heaven Essence Heavenly Pills Tao fruit and the value of the divine grasses? After so many years, the Sunken Fish Palace had only managed to make 5 furnaces after so much effort. Of course, this was what Sun Rushuan had said. As for whether the Sunken Fish Palace only had the materials for 5 furnaces of heavenly elixir, he wasn't sure. There was at least one thing that was beyond doubt, and that was that the ingredients of the heavenly pill were extremely precious. Sichen Qiutian had actually refined 51 batches of pills by himself. This pill sage's wealth was simply unimaginable. Ningcheng believed that if Sichen Qiutian wasn't a primordial Tao pill saint, he wouldn't have been able to obtain so many heavenly heaven pill materials for refining. Sichen Qiutian's tone was even more dejected. "But I didn't succeed even once. How is this possible?" Ningcheng spoke in a startled voice. "As far as I know, the heavenly heaven pill is a pill recipe handed down from ancient times. It is absolutely not wrong. How is it possible for the association head to refine 51 batches of pills, and not even one batch was successful?" There was another sentence that Ningcheng didn't say. That is, as a primordial Tao pill saint, if he failed to refine the same kind of pill 51 batches, it would be shameful for him to be a primordial Tao pill saint. There is absolutely no problem with the pill recipe, because I have seen the heavenly heaven pill, which means that someone has refined the heavenly heaven pill before. Not only that, the Great Change Realm also has the heavenly heaven pill, Sichen Qiutian said with certainty. After saying that, without waiting for Ningcheng to ask, he continued, "At our level of alchemy Tao, refining 51 batches of the same kind of pill without success made me doubt my alchemy Tao. I didn't dare to continue refining the heavenly heaven pill, and because of this, cracks appeared in my Tao heart. The pills I refined were collected by many sects, but I couldn't give them an answer. However, they didn't blame me, and they didn't even take back the heavenly heaven pill materials they gave me, which made me feel very guilty. After I lost my confidence in the alchemy Tao, I focused my energy on the alchemy meeting. During the last alchemy meeting selection, I took out the 5 heaven essence fruits, which were left over from refining the heavenly heaven pill. Even if I don't refine the heavenly heaven pill with the heaven essence fruit, it can still enhance my understanding of the primordial Tao realm. I didn't dare to waste this heaven and earth Tao fruit, which is almost impossible to find, so I took it out as a prize. Ning Cheng finally understood why the last selection reward was 5 heaven essence fruits. It turned out that there was a hidden story behind it. Whether it was the martial Tao, the dermic Tao, or the alchemy Tao, losing confidence was the most terrifying thing. No wonder he always felt that Sichen Chiu Tian was a little depressed. If he had refined 51 batches of such precious heavenly heaven pills without success, it would have shaken his Tao heart. Association Master, did you find the reason why you failed 51 batches of heavenly heaven pills in a row? Ning Cheng asked nervously. He came here because he couldn't find the reason. He knew that an excellent alchemy sage would always know part of the reason for his failure after his own pill refining failed. Even if he didn't know everything, as long as he slowly corrected it, he would eventually succeed. Sichen Chiu Tian's face turned slightly pale. He shook his head silently and didn't speak. Ning Cheng sucked in a breath of cold air. Sichen Chiu Tian was a primordial Tao alchemy sage. How could his alchemy Tao be simple? A primordial Tao alchemy sage, even if he failed 51 batches of heavenly heaven pills in a row, could find many reasons. However, Sichen Chiu Tian failed 51 batches of heavenly heaven pills in a row, and he couldn't find the reason? Someone had refined the heavenly heaven pill before, and Sichen Chiu Tian had also seen the heavenly heaven pill before. Therefore, it shouldn't be a problem with the pill recipe or the divine grass. Could it be that only a primordial Tao alchemy sage could refine such a pill? After coming to the Grand Essence realm, he had seen many ancient books on the alchemy Tao. The difficulty of refining the heavenly heaven pill ranked far behind the 6 soul pill. Ning Cheng's heart sank. Although he had only failed 1 batch of heavenly heaven pills, if he couldn't find the reason, he would most likely end up in the same situation as Sichen Chiu Tian and lose confidence in the alchemy Tao. His Tao of returning to one contained the Tao of alchemy. If he lost confidence in the Tao of alchemy, his Tao of returning to one wouldn't be as perfect as before. After a long time, Sichen Chiu Tian finally spoke up. For so many years, I've been thinking about the same question. That is, what's the reason for the failure of the heavenly heaven pill? I've also suspected the pill recipe, but I've repeatedly deduced this pill recipe without any mistakes. I've also studied many ancient pill recipes, and the heavenly heaven pill's pill recipe isn't a secret. Most of them are exactly the same. The subtle differences don't have much of an impact. Ning Cheng knew that he hadn't reached Sichen Chiu Tian's level yet, so he couldn't deduce the heavenly heaven pill's pill recipe without any mistakes. It wasn't because his alchemy Tao wasn't as good as Sichen Chiu Tian, but because his cultivation hadn't reached the Tao essence realm. If he wanted to deduce the pill recipe for advancing to the Tao essence realm, his cultivation would have to reach the Tao essence realm, or his Grand Tao's Tao charm would have to reach the Tao essence realm. In recent years, I've come up with a possible reason. What's the reason? Ning Cheng couldn't wait to ask. Sichen Chiu Tian said in a low voice, I've repeatedly checked the last time the heavenly heaven pill appeared and found that the few remaining heavenly heaven pills appeared before the Grand Essence Realm's heaven and earth laws shattered. Since the Grand Essence Realm's heaven and earth laws shattered, no heavenly heaven pill has appeared. Many sects and cultivators use the heaven essence fruit to comprehend the primordial Tao realm instead of refining the heaven essence heavenly elixir. Association Master, are you saying that the Grand Essence Realm's heaven and earth laws are incomplete, which makes us unable to refine the heavenly heaven pill? Not because our alchemy Tao level isn't high enough? Ning Cheng spoke out in shock. He subconsciously felt that this statement was correct. Otherwise, There was no reason why he couldn't find any reason for failure. Si Chen Chiu Tian nodded with a solemn expression. This is the reason I speculated. As for whether it's true or not, I've never tried it. But Association Master, you've been to the Grand Change Realm. Why didn't you try refining in the Grand Change Realm? Ning Qing asked hurriedly. Si Chen Chiu Tian shook his head. I have the title of a primordial Dao pill saint, but I can't refine primordial Dao pills anymore. Ning Qing fell silent. He understood what Si Chen Chiu Tian meant. It was because Si Chen Chiu Tian had lost confidence in his alchemy Dao. Was there anything more tragic than an alchemy Dao expert losing confidence in his alchemy Dao? Ning Qing didn't ask Si Chen Chiu Tian why he didn't take out the materials to let the Grand Change Realm's primordial Dao pill saint refine it. Even he wouldn't do such a thing. An Elixir Association's association master, who led a team to the Grand Change Realm to participate in the pill competition, had to ask the Grand Change Realm's pill saint to refine pills. This was worse than losing confidence in the alchemy Dao. Association Master, is it because the Grand Change Realm's heaven and earth laws that the 5 realms pill competition is held in the Grand Change Realm? Ning Qing asked. Si Chen Chiu Tian looked at Ning Qing and said, I also thought about it. Now it seems that it's really the reason. I didn't know that a primordial Dao pill saint like you would appear in the pill discussion conference. Otherwise, I would have left a few furnaces of heavenly heaven pills for you to refine in the Grand Change Realm. Association Master, don't worry. I still have a few furnaces of heavenly heaven pill materials. I'll go find Sun Rushuan later. If she wants, I'll take her to the Grand Change Realm. If she doesn't want to, I believe that there will always be a chance in the future. Ning Qing comforted him. He had to find the real reason and restore Si Chen Chiu Tian's confidence in the alchemy Dao. After leaving Si Chen Chiu Tian's cave, Ning Qing didn't immediately go to find Sun Rushuan. Instead, he returned to Sword 3 Mountains Cave. He wanted to refine another furnace of heavenly heaven pills. Not for anything else, but because he felt that Si Chen Chiu Tian's ideas over the years were correct. The reason why the heavenly heaven pill couldn't be refined was because the heaven and earth laws of the Grand Essence Realm were incomplete. He wanted to refine another furnace because he had the 5-element Chaos Qi. The 5-element Chaos Qi was formed after the Chaos Qi merged with the 5 elements of heaven and earth. If the heavenly heaven pill failed because of the incomplete heaven and earth laws, then the 5-element Chaos Qi could definitely make up for this deficiency. Chapter 1049. If it were any other time, Ning Qing would never have used 5-elemental Chaos Qi to refine primordial Dao pills. This was because the 5-elemental chaos energy itself was more precious than the primordial Dao pill. It was just like using the incomparably precious bestowing lawless fruit to refine the 6-in soul pill. It was also an act that outweighed the gains. But now, Ning Qing urgently needed to know if his failure to refine the Heaven Essence Heavenly Pill was caused by the incomplete laws of the Grand Essence Realm. Carefully taking out the materials for the second batch of Heaven Essence Heavenly Pills, Ning Qing brought out the furnace. This time, Ning Qing used the Celestial River Flame. Compared to the nameless flame, Ning Qing preferred the Celestial River Flame. Ning Qing melted the divine grasses and removed the impurities, leaving behind only the essence of the spiritual liquid. Ning Qing also sent the Heaven Essence Fruit and the Extreme Yin Sacred Fruit into the furnace. At the same time, Ning Qing captured the Dao Charm laws of these 2 Dao fruits. At the same time, Ning Qing sent 5 different attributes of Primal Chaos Qi into the pill furnace. As soon as the 5-elemental Chaos Qi entered the cauldron, the Spirit Liquid Origin Essence and the Dao Fruit Law Dao runes within the cauldron stabilized. They were no longer as erratic as before. Heaven Essence Fruit Dao Fruit Law, condense a Dao core for me. Great Yin Sacred Fruit, Dao Fruit Law, form a Dao core for me. For the first time in his life, Ning Qing shot out one pill art after another, constantly injecting his own Dao of Alchemy's Dao Charm into it. The essence of the pill liquid fused, the Dao runes of the 2 Dao fruits fused, and the alchemy Dao laws fused again. All the rules had returned to one. The heavenly pill had been formed, the pill aura had fused, and the Tao pill had taken shape. Ning Qing showed neither sorrow nor joy, his whole person was as calm as a stone. Since planting the first divine grass, Ning Qing hadn't encountered any obstacles. His first cauldron of heavenly pill had failed because the Tao rune laws of the two Tao fruits had inexplicably dissipated when they fused into the Tao core. However, there was nothing wrong with this cauldron of pills up until now. 6 hours later, a burst of pill fragrance wafted out. Ning Qing knew that the heaven essence Tao pill was about to form. From the looks of it, Sidu Qin and Qiu Tian's deduction was correct. The laws of heaven and earth here were broken, and it was indeed not suitable for refining the heavenly Qianyuan pill. 12 milky white pills flew out of the furnace and fell into the jade bottle that Ning Qing had prepared. The pill tribulation that Ning Qing had been guarding against didn't appear, which made Ning Qing suspect that the last pill tribulation wasn't because of the 6-in soul pill, but because of the bestowing lawless fruit. Each of the 12 heavenly pills contained a powerful Taoist aura. Not only that, but there were also traces of the chaotic aura of the 5 elements. This kind of heavenly heaven pill was many times better than ordinary heavenly heaven pills. Ning Qing took out a heavenly heaven pill and placed it in the palm of his hand. On the surface of the milky white pill, one after another pill line after another flowed out. It looked very pleasing to the eye. Putting away the heavenly heaven pill, Ning Qing decided to refine a furnace of heavenly heaven pill in the Great Change realm without adding any 5 elements origin qi. The heaven essence heavenly pill couldn't be refined in the grand essence realm because the laws of heaven and earth were incomplete. Star Stepping Tower, Ning Qing really didn't want to come here. However, he had to come because Sun Rushuan lived in the Star Stepping Tower. He had broken his promise twice in a row, and he still needed Sun Rushuan's materials for the heavenly pill, so he could only take the initiative to visit her. I felt that something good would happen today. Sure enough, Pill Sage Ning is here. Sun Rushuan happily opened the room's restriction and welcomed Ning Qing into the room. After Ning Qing entered the room, he found that the Sunken Fish Palace's Palace Master Luan and Yin Yueshu were also there. He had to greet them one by one. Palace Master Luan's status was higher than his. As for Yin Yueshu, he still owed her a favor. Since Pill Sage Ning is here, the medicinal pills must have been refined. Unexpectedly, Palace Master Luan, who didn't like to talk, suddenly spoke to Ning Qing. Ning Qing cupped his fists again and said, "The Supreme Heavenly Ice Pill has been refined. Here are the medicinal pills." After saying that, Ning Qing took out 9 jade bottles and placed them on the table. Sun Rushuan quickly grabbed one of the jade bottles and scanned it with her spiritual consciousness. Then, she said with great satisfaction, "Many thanks, Pill Sage Ning. Pill Sage Ning really lives up to his reputation. You actually have a 90% top-grade medicinal pill." She heard Ning Qing say that the Supreme Heavenly Ice Pill had been refined, but he didn't mention the Heavenly Heaven Pill. She knew that Ning Qing had encountered some problems while refining the Heavenly Heaven Pill. The reason she said this in advance was that she didn't want Palace Master Luan and Ning Qing to become enemies. After all, Ning Qing was a primordial Tao alchemy saint. 5 batches of Heavenly Heaven pills was a shocking value. However, if Ning Qing failed, it wouldn't do the Sunken Fish Palace any good if they became enemies with him. The Sunken Fish Palace didn't have the means to kill Ning Qing. Even if they could, so what? Palace Master Luan said indifferently, "That is to say, Pill Sage Ning didn't refine the Heavenly Heaven Pill?" Ning Qing cupped his fists and said, "I would like to ask Palace Master Luan if you know that the Heavenly Heaven Pill is very difficult to refine. Is that why you haven't asked anyone else to refine it?" Ning Qing believed that the Sunken Fish Palace definitely knew about the difficulty of refining the Heavenly Heaven Pill. Since they knew about it, they still asked him to refine the Heavenly Heaven Pill and didn't say that they wouldn't pursue the matter if the refinement failed. Sun Rushuan quickly said, "Pill Sage Ning, the Heavenly Heaven Pill is indeed difficult to refine. The Sunken Fish Palace has never given the Heavenly Heaven Pill to others because there are only 2 primordial Tao alchemy saints in the entire Great Essence realm. Apart from Pill Sage Ning, there's only Guild Master Si Qin, Qiu Tian. Pill Sage Ning also knows that Guild Master Sichen never helps others refine pills. Therefore, we can only find Pill Sage Ning. We don't have any other intentions. Ning Qing felt embarrassed. He was a primordial Dao alchemy saint, so he didn't think that a primordial Dao alchemy saint was anything special. This was because he was in this mountain. Now that Sun Rushuan said the reason, he came to his senses. Just as Sun Rushuan said, he seemed to be the only one in the entire Great Essence realm who was qualified to refine the Heavenly Heaven pill. If the Sunken Fish Palace didn't choose him, who else could they choose? Seeing Ning Cheng's embarrassment, Sun Rushuan asked, "Is there a problem with refining the Heavenly Heaven pill?" Ning Cheng didn't hide it this time and said honestly, "Yes, my first batch of Heavenly Heaven pill failed, so I didn't dare to continue refining. Later, I asked the guild master, and he told me that it was probably due to the incomplete laws of the Great Essence realm. Therefore, I didn't refine the next few batches of pills. I came here to discuss something with senior apprentice Sister Ru Xian. That is, allow me to bring the materials of the Heavenly Heaven pill to the Great Change realm for refining. If it doesn't work, I can compensate for the loss of the materials of the Heavenly Heaven pill and return the unrefined materials to you." Ning Qing didn't hide the reason why he failed to refine the Heavenly Heaven pill. He felt that the Great Essence realm was already lacking in resources. If everyone was like Si Chen and Qiu Tian, wasting 51 batches of pills to find the reason, then the Great Essence realm would grow weaker and weaker. He told this reason so that Sun Rushuan could spread the word and tell others that the Heavenly Heaven pill couldn't be refined in the Great Essence realm. As for the batch of Heavenly Heaven pills he refined, Ning Qing didn't want to give it away. His batch of pills contained the 5-element Chaos Qi, which made it many times more valuable than ordinary Heavenly Heaven pills. So that was the case. After hearing Ning Cheng's words, Palace Master Luan's face turned a lot better. Sun Rushuan said, "Since my Sunken Fish Palace chose to ask Pill Sage Ning to refine the Heavenly Heaven pill, we will believe in Pill Sage Ning. Pill Sage Ning, please bring the pills into the Great Change realm for refining. Even if all of them fail, my Sunken Fish Palace will not say anything. If Pill Sage Ning can get a ranking in the 5-realm pill competition, I only hope that you can leave one for my Sunken Fish Palace." Sun Rushuan's words made Ning Cheng feel very comfortable. He cupped his fists and replied, "Senior Sister Rushuan, don't worry. If I can really get a ranking in the 5-realm pill competition, I will definitely leave one for the Sunken Fish Palace. In that case, I'll take my leave first." "Hey Yueshu, see Pill Sage Ning out." Sun Rushuan didn't want to keep Ning Cheng. After all, the palace master had given Ning Cheng a hard time. Without waiting for Ning Cheng to refuse, In Yueshu opened the room's restriction and walked out. "Junior Sister Yueshu, please come in. I still have something to do," said Ning Cheng politely after following In Yueshu out. He was going to send Gong Shimao's pill over. Since she was easy to talk to, he didn't want others to think that he was a primordial Dao alchemy saint. In Yueshu didn't go in. Instead, she lowered her head and said in a very low voice, "I want to invite Big Brother Ning to Heaven Essence Sacred City. I wonder if Big Brother Ning is free?" When Ning Cheng heard this, he knew what In Yueshu was thinking. In Yueshu wanted to befriend him through the relationship between a man and a woman. However, he didn't feel any affection from In Yueshu. In other words, In Yueshu wanted to befriend him just to use him. This woman really thought highly of herself. She had even dared to use such low-level means on him. "I'm really sorry. I have a lot of things to do these days. I really can't accompany you to the streets. Don't worry. If you want me to refine a furnace of elixir pills in the future, I definitely won't refuse." Ning Cheng's words were very clear. "I owe you a favor. Helping you refine a furnace of elixir pills is enough to repay it. As for other ideas, we'll mind our own business. Don't waste my time." Alchemy Sage Ning is really unromantic. A beautiful woman invited you to go shopping. She wants to date you, but you actually refused. A crisp voice rang out. Then, a woman in black with a veil over her face appeared not far away. Star-stepping Tower Master? Ning Cheng's eyes narrowed and he became vigilant. He now had a Dao birth cultivation level, while the Star Stepping Tower Master shouldn't have reached primordial chaos. Ning Cheng believed that even if the other party suddenly attacked, he would have two choices. One was to rush into Zhen Rushuan's room, and the second was to take out the god-slaying bead and rush out of the Star Stepping Tower. However, Ning Cheng believed that the Star Stepping Tower Master would not dare to make a move. Both of his options were for precaution. Date. Ning Cheng frowned slightly, as he obviously didn't understand the meaning of these two words. However, he was even more certain that the Star Stepping Tower Master was from Earth. If this woman had really poisoned Sheng Ho Tian, then she was definitely sinister and cunning. The Star Stepping Tower Master stared at Ning Cheng with a smile in his eyes. You really don't know how to date? Then let me tell you. This woman is in heat and wants to sleep with you. Yin Yueshu couldn't stand such shameless words. Her face turned cold as she bowed to Ning Cheng and turned to leave. If someone else had dared to say this, she would have killed them. Chapter 1050. The Star Stepping Tower Master didn't even look at Yin Yueshu. Clearly, he didn't care about her. He still looked at Ning Cheng with a smile. Alchemy Sage Ning, it's not easy for you to come to the Star Stepping Tower. Why don't you come to my place and sit for a while? Let me play the host. Ning Cheng calmly cupped his fists and spoke. Many thanks to the Pavilion Master, but I still have something important to take care of, and will not be able to go today. When I'm free in the future, I'll pay you a visit again. The Star Stepping Tower Master gave out a sad sigh. I always felt that I had a special affinity with Pil Sage Ning, so I always thought that Pil Sage Ning was from the same hometown. That's why I didn't hesitate to offend Man Huishan to help you last time. Now that Man Huishan is a Dao fusion powerhouse, I don't think my Star Stepping Tower will be able to operate for much longer. My life is so bitter. It wasn't easy for me to find a stable place, but after a few days, I have to leave again. The Star Stepping Tower Master's voice became more and more mournful, making people unable to help but sympathize with him. It was as if she had helped Ning Cheng, but ended up being implicated by Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng calmly replied, Tower Master, you're overthinking it. I believe that as long as Tower Master takes out a few bottles of good medicinal pills, a Dao fusion powerhouse would definitely help Tower Master stop Man Huishan. Ning Cheng was ridiculing the Star Stepping Tower Master. Wouldn't you help me for the sake of those 10 bottles of Empyrean Consciousness Transmutation pills? Besides, you didn't even lift a finger. The implication behind his words was that even if he didn't give the 10 bottles of Empyrean Consciousness Transmutation pills to the Star Stepping Tower's Master, if he gave it to someone else, someone would definitely help him. The Star Stepping Tower Master acted as if he couldn't understand Ning Cheng's words and spoke with sincerity. Pil Sage Ning, this is what I need your help with. I want to ask you to help me refine a few furnaces of medicinal pills in case of emergencies. This woman's skin was really thick. Ning Cheng was too lazy to continue talking with her. Putting on an expression as if he had received a message, he said, Oh, President Cheng is still waiting for me. I have to go back and heal my wounds. I can't talk to you anymore. Goodbye. While speaking, Ning Cheng's figure flashed and appeared at the entrance of the Star Stepping Tower. Bang! A powerful blocking force appeared in front of Ning Cheng, abruptly blocking Ning Cheng's path. Ning Cheng's expression turned serious, and his domain instantly unfolded. At the same time, a long spear also appeared in his hand. Could it be that the Tower Lord wants to force me to stay? Has the building master considered the consequences? Ning Cheng's tone was awe-inspiring, overflowing with murderous intent. If the Star Stepping Tower Master dared to make a move, he would immediately call Zhen Rushuan to help. The Star Stepping Tower Master's eyes changed a few times, as if thinking about Ning Cheng's words. After a few breaths, she smiled. How is that possible? Pil Sage Ning is the Heaven Essence Sacred City's Dao Essence Pil Sage. No matter how bold I am, I wouldn't dare to attack Pil Sage Ning. I really want to invite Pil Sage Ning to my place for a chat. We can be very good friends. Ning Cheng stared at the Star Stepping Tower's master with a sarcastic gaze and slowly spoke up, You're wrong. We weren't friends before, and we won't be friends now. It's even more impossible for us to be friends in the future. If I make friends with someone like you, I might be stabbed in the back in the next moment. I still want to live a few more years." After Ning Cheng finished speaking, he didn't wait for the star-stepping tower master to speak at all. With a turn of his body, the array formation restrictions blocking his path crumbled like paper. The next moment, Ning Cheng disappeared without a trace. Since the star-stepping tower master dared to tear apart all pretense of cordiality and forcibly stop him, then she shouldn't blame him for speaking straightforwardly. Ning Cheng had experienced a lot of people and things, and after interacting with the star-stepping tower master a few times, he understood that this woman was very powerful. Moreover, she was the kind of woman who wouldn't hesitate to stab people in the back for her own interests. He wouldn't have anything to do with such a woman unless he was tired of living. Hearing Ning Cheng's words, the star-stepping tower master's murderous aura overflowed from her body, causing the entire space to tremble under her murderous aura. In the end, she held back her killing intent and didn't dare to attack Ning Cheng. Instead, she watched as Ning Cheng tore through the restrictions and calmly walked away. After Ning Cheng disappeared, the killing intent in her eyes slowly disappeared, replaced by pain and unconcealable sadness. Seeing that the star-stepping tower master didn't attack him, Ning Cheng felt slightly relieved. After leaving the star-stepping tower and confirming that the star-stepping tower master didn't chase after him, he carefully put away a bead. After sending out Gong Shimao's medicinal pill, Ning Cheng returned to his cave on Sword 3 Mountains. Ning Cheng didn't investigate the destruction of Xen Xiu's pill building in Heaven Essence Sacred City or the poisoning of Cheng Ho Tian. It wasn't that he didn't want to do so, but his strength was still too low. Even if he found out who did it, he couldn't do anything about it. Ning Cheng didn't go into seclusion to refine pills again. Some of the sects who had been blocked from visiting Ning Cheng once again came to Sword 3 Mountains Cave and started to visit Ning Cheng. One after another, they offered to support Ning Cheng, but Ning Cheng declined them one by one. So far, he hadn't promised anyone except for the quota for the Sunken Fish Palace. If he couldn't get the quota, he would end up owing them a favor. If he got the quota, he could put it up for auction. He believed that the harvest would be even greater. 10 days passed by in a flash, and many powerhouses gathered outside the Heavenly Pill Gathering. A silver void airship stopped on the public square outside the Pill Gathering. Everyone knew that today was the day when the Grand Essence Realm Pill Gatherings Association Master, Sidu Chen Xiutian, would bring people to the Grand Change Realm to participate in the 5 Realms Pill competition. Ning Cheng sent off Cheng Ho Tian and arrived at the Pill Association's public square. The Pill Association's association head, Si Chen Xiutian, was already standing on the deck of the silver airship. Ning Cheng also knew the person standing next to Si Chen Xiutian. He was Protector Ju, a late-stage primordial chaos expert from the Elixir Association. Behind Si Chen Xiutian were the Immortal Corpse Sect's Dao Transformation Alchemy Sage Do Jiangshi, the Great Divine Pill Sect's Dao Transformation Alchemy Sage Jing Han, the Heaven Essence Sacred City's City Lord Mansion's Dao Transformation Alchemy Sage Le Shizhen, the Flaming Feather God Mountain's Dao Transformation Alchemy Sage Yen Kuaifu, and the Missing Moon Valley's Dao Birth Alchemy Sage Mei Xiuan. Pill Sage Ning Shur is hard to invite. So many people are waiting for you. Seeing Ning Cheng come over, Jing Han spoke with an indifferent tone. Ning Cheng had stolen his limelight several times. Not only did he lose his face, but also caused him to suffer a great loss. It would be a strange thing for him to feel good about it. More importantly, Ning Cheng had attacked his Dao of alchemy, which was a deep hatred. Other people's alchemy Dao was improving, but recently he felt that he was regressing. He originally thought that in the Grand Essence realm, apart from Si Chen Xiutian, he should be the #1 pill sage and the #1 alchemy genius. Ning Cheng's challenge made him understand that even apart from Si Chen Xiutian, he wasn't the #1 pill sage. He wasn't even the second. Because of this, his confidence in the Dao of alchemy had been destroyed by Ning Cheng. Especially when Ning Cheng refined the 6 Soul pill, he almost felt lost at that moment. Ning Cheng had wasted some time sending Cheng Ho Tian away, but he didn't care about Jing Han at all. Jing Han didn't deserve to be his opponent. His opponent was an expert from the Grand Change realm. Si Chen Qiutian saw Ning Qing arrive and nodded with a smile. Everyone's here. Let's go. As Si Chen Qiutian's words fell, the silver airship drew a silver fox in the sky above Heaven Essence Sacred City and rushed out of the city. It soon disappeared into the void. The airship moved extremely fast and rushed out of the Grand Essence Realm's shackles in a short time and entered the vast void. Si Chen Qiutian looked at everyone with a smile and said, "There aren't many people on this airship. Everyone can find a room you like." The teleportation array from the Grand Essence Realm to the Five Realms Void City will take a few years. Mei Xiuwan was the only woman representing the Grand Essence Realm in the pill competition. Moreover, she also had the lowest attainment in the Tao of Alchemy. After hearing Si Chen Qiutian's words, she immediately bowed and asked, "Association Master, may I ask where the Five Realms Void City's teleportation array is? The periphery of the Grand Change Realm?" Si Chen Qiutian chuckled. The Five Realms Void City's teleportation array is just a teleportation platform in the void. But it's a planar teleportation array. This teleportation platform leads directly to a void sacred city called the Five Realms Void City. There's still a long way to go from the Five Realms Void City to the Grand Change Realm. Most airships heading to the Grand Change Realm will first enter the Five Realms Void City. After resting for a while, someone will take us to the Grand Change Realm. Mei Xiuwan asked the question that everyone wanted to ask. No one asked anything else, and everyone went to the inner cabin to find a place to rest. Ning Qing had observed the silver airship as soon as he came in. It was a purely speed-type airship, even faster than his starry skywheel. Of course, his strength was limited, and he couldn't bring out the full speed of the starry skywheel. Every room on the airship had abundant spirit qi and was in a good location. Ning Qing casually found a room and directly arranged his array formation. A few years, for a cultivator at the Sage Emperor level, was just a single seclusion. Ning Qing wasn't in the mood to chat with the other pill saints. Jing Han didn't see eye to eye with him, and Dou Jiangshi should have already been possessed. Besides, Ning Qing also didn't like the Immortal Corpse sect. As for Lu Shizhen losing to him, it would be strange if he could talk to him. He didn't know Yan Kuaifu and Mei Xiuwan at all. No matter how many years the airship took, he had something to do. What he wanted to do was not to cultivate but to refine the Void Cold Light Spear. He had once purchased a large piece of Void Cold Light Iron from Big Dipper 7 Peaks Mo Wensheng. Taking advantage of this time, he wanted to refine a Void Cold Light Spear. For a long time, Ning Qing didn't have a suitable weapon. He couldn't control the Nirvana Spear with his spiritual consciousness and couldn't exert its power at all. As for the Good Fortune Divine Spear, not to mention that he couldn't refine it now, even if he could, he couldn't. He lacked materials. Initially, he had bought the Void Cold Light Iron to refine a long spear. However, he never had the time. Ning Qing didn't immediately take out the Void Cold Light Iron to refine. Instead, he took out a pile of artifact crafting materials and started to refine a spirit artifact. His artifact crafting methods were still a bit weak. If he wanted to refine the Void Cold Light Iron into a top-grade weapon, he had to improve his attainments in the crafting Tao first. He wasn't the only one who could see the preciousness of the Void Cold Light Iron. Even Dou Jiangshi, who had possessed him, could see it. This was a top-grade material containing Void Tao charm. Compared to Tao fruits, it was many times more precious. The reason why Mo Wensheng couldn't sell the Void Cold Light Iron wasn't because of the materials, but because no one could melt this iron. The reason why Ning Qing believed that he could melt this iron, apart from his returning to One Tao and Celestial River Flame, was his law-breaking spirit technique. Chapter 1051. Ning Qing could already refine middle-grade spirit artifacts. Even high-grade spirit artifacts could be refined by chance. But now that Ning Qing concentrated on crafting Tao, coupled with all kinds of artifact crafting materials, his artifact crafting level soared in a short time. A year later, Ning Qing could easily refine top-grade, high-grade spirit artifacts. It was just that the materials for top-grade spirit artifacts were too rare. No matter how rich Ningcheng was, he couldn't use the materials to refine top-grade spirit artifacts to practice. Otherwise, he could even refine top-grade spirit artifacts. I should be able to refine a void cold light spear now, Ningcheng thought as he stopped his practice and took out the void cold light iron that was the size of a small hill. A cyan light radiated out, permeating with a chill. Under this icy aura, the space in the room even froze. When Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness came into contact with the hill-like void cold light iron, he could vaguely feel traces of Dao charm. Ningcheng raised his hand, and the starry sky like celestial river flame fell on the void cold light iron. As Ningcheng expected, his flame had already advanced to a spirit flame, but it still couldn't do anything to this void cold light iron. Even if it melted extremely slowly. At this rate of melting, even cutting open this piece of void cold light metal would not be something that could be done in a few years, let alone forging a god artifact. Ningcheng had already prepared himself for this situation. If the void cold light iron could be cut so easily, then he wouldn't have needed to buy it. Many people could see the Dao charm laws contained within the void cold light iron. Moreover, this iron had to wait for him to buy it, so it naturally wouldn't melt so easily. Ningcheng was a primordial Dao pill saint and cultivated the Dao of returning to one. He believed that whether it was the Dao of alchemy, crafting Dao, or array Dao, they all had something in common. Refining Dao pills required condensing Dao fruit laws. Now that he wanted to refine a spirit artifact, he naturally needed to condense the void Dao charm within the void cold light iron. As the Dao of returning to one permeated the void cold light iron, Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness began to capture the Dao charm aura within. Before Ningcheng could capture the Dao charm aura within the void cold light iron, an inexplicable force came from the void cold light iron. This force directly blasted into his sea of consciousness and formed an avalanche-like force in his sea of consciousness. This force started to fluctuate within Ningcheng's sea of consciousness, causing Ningcheng's sea of consciousness to feel extremely uncomfortable. So powerful, Ningcheng wanted to take back his spiritual consciousness, but found that his spiritual consciousness that had penetrated into the cold light iron had disappeared without a trace. Ningcheng was secretly shocked. This was his first time encountering such a powerful material. Fortunately, his spiritual sea was a starry sky spiritual sea. After advancing to the Dao birth, it was like a vast and boundless universe. The sudden avalanche power of the void cold light iron crashed into his sea of consciousness, but it was unable to cause any damage to it. No wonder no one wanted this void cold light metal. Even if they wanted it, it would be useless. If he did not know how to refine tools and gave this thing to someone else to refine a magic weapon, it would probably belong to that person's treasure. At this time, Ningcheng finally understood why Do Jiangshi wanted the void cold light iron. He most likely relied on his dark nether devouring spirit scroll. At this time, Ningcheng understood why Do Jiangshi wanted the void cold light iron. He must have used the dark nether spirit devouring scripture. The violent avalanche power once again rushed into Ningcheng's sea of consciousness. This time, Ningcheng was prepared and immediately cast the devouring cultivation method of the dark nether spirit devourer. The next moment, the void cold light iron structure and void Dao charm appeared in Ningcheng's sea of consciousness. The next moment, the void cold light iron structure and void Dao charm appeared in Ningcheng's sea of consciousness. It was extremely clear. The dark nether spirit devouring scripture also had such an effect. After seeing the void Dao charm of the void cold light iron, Ningcheng understood that this material was extraordinary. From this, it could be seen that Do Jiangshi still wouldn't give up on the void cold light iron. The reason why that fellow hadn't made a move until now was that his essence spirit and corporeal body hadn't completely merged. However, even if Do Jiangshi obtained the void cold light iron, he wouldn't be able to refine it into a weapon like Ningcheng. Ningcheng had the god-grade flame celestial river, but Do Jiangshi might not have it. He was a top-grade artifact crafting master, so could Do Jiangshi do it? Without the mysterious yellow bead and the mysterious yellow formless, even if Do Jiangshi wanted to learn artifact crafting, It would take him tens of thousands of years to achieve minor success. What's more, did Dou Jiangshi have any law-breaking spirit techniques? After taking control of the Void Dao Charm and aura within the Void Cold Light Iron, Ning Cheng's Dao Charm erupted once again, and the law-breaking Dao Charm completely wrapped around the Void Cold Light Iron. The aura of laws within the Void Cold Light Iron weakened at this moment, allowing Ning Cheng to bring out the celestial river flame in time. At this moment, the Void Cold Light Iron felt like a piece of ice being roasted by the celestial river flame and began to melt in just a few breaths. Ning Cheng blasted the aura of laws into the melting Void Cold Light Iron. Very good, Ning Cheng thought as he put away the Void Cold Light Spear with satisfaction. He also put away the remaining Void Cold Light Iron. It was not until today that he finally had an attack-type weapon to his liking. With this Void Cold Light Spear, his strength would increase by a large margin. Ning Cheng did not continue his seclusion. Instead, he got up and opened the restrictions around his room. Ning Cheng had been in seclusion for a year and a half, and he had no idea where the airship had reached. Pill Sage Ning, after going into seclusion for a year and a half, you should have gained a lot, right? To Ning Cheng's surprise, as soon as he came out, Dou Jiangshi's friendly greeting voice arrived. Looking at Dou Jiangshi's expressionless and hypocritical smile, Ning Cheng felt a burst of weariness in his heart. He suspected that Dou Jiangshi had been keeping an eye on his room. Otherwise, how could this fellow know that he had just come out? Ning Cheng casually nodded and spoke, "Not bad." After that, Ning Cheng ignored Dou Jiangshi and went straight to the deck of the airship. Pill Sage Ning, wait a minute. Dou Jiangshi did not care about Ning Cheng's indifference and instead followed Ning Cheng to the deck. If you have something to say, just say it. If you want to fart, go back and fart. Ning Cheng's tone turned cold and he spoke without any trace of politeness. Dou Jiangshi made him feel disgusted. In any case, the two of them could never become friends. At this moment, Ning Cheng didn't even have the thought of feigning civility. Pill Sage Ning. Yan Kuaifu and Mei Xiuwan, who were standing on the deck and chatting, saw Ning Cheng come out and took the initiative to greet him. The two of them only said 2 words before they paused. Ning Cheng's words were too rude and impolite. However, the two of them also knew that Ning Cheng wasn't targeting them but Dou Jiangshi, who was chasing after them. Dou Jiangshi's face remained expressionless. Perhaps even if he had an expression, no one would be able to see it. Only Yan Kuaifu saw the murderous intent flashing in Dou Jiangshi's eyes. Then he spoke up with a smile, "Pill Sage Ning, I really do have something to say. Can we talk in private?" Ning Cheng turned around and stared at Dou Jiangshi coldly. "There are no secrets between us. If you have something to say, just say it. If you don't want to say it, then I won't accompany you." He could see that Dou Jiangshi's cultivation had completely stabilized and had integrated well. He had advanced from early-stage Dao transformation to middle-stage Dao transformation. Presumably, with this fellow's speed, it wouldn't take long for him to recover to the primordial Dao realm. When Yan Kuaifu and Mei Xiuwan saw that Ning Cheng and Dou Jiangshi didn't get along, they quickly excused themselves and left. After Yan Kuaifu and Mei Xiuwan left, Dou Jiangshi spoke up directly. "Pill Sage Ning, I know that you have a piece of Void Cold Light Iron. I don't know if you can sell it to me. You can name the price." This fellow really wanted the Void Cold Light Iron. Ning Cheng chuckled, turned around, and stared at Dou Jiangshi before saying, "The zombie you seized from the Immortal Corpse sect has nothing to do with me. But don't even think of using it on me. Otherwise, even if you seized my body, I would have smashed your essence spirit out. Do you want the Void Cold Light Iron? I'll give you 2 words, not for sale." Chapter 1052. After Ning Cheng exposed Dou Jiangshi's possession, Dou Jiangshi never came to find him again. He didn't even come up to the deck. As if they knew that Ning Cheng was not easy to get along with, the rest of the people also rarely talked to Ning Cheng. As for the leading Sichin Xiutian, he did not come out. Ning Cheng also didn't deliberately look for trouble with Dou Jiangshi. Since he finished crafting the Void Cold Light Spear, He decided to stay on the airship to deduce the Tao of pills. Another half a year passed and the spaceship stopped. Ning Cheng also stopped deducing the Tao of pills and walked out of the room. Sich and Chiu Tian also walked out. He wanted everyone to leave the flying ship and land outside a huge stone platform that floated in the void. This is the teleportation platform? Yen Kuaifu asked as he looked at the massive stone platform floating in the air. Chiu Tian smiled. Don't underestimate this platform. Not only is it a planar teleportation array, but it's also protected by a top-grade array. Ning Cheng had already sensed the defensive array outside the platform. After experiencing the secret bazaar and the ancient fairy mysterious clan's concealment array, Ning Cheng realized that his attainments in the Tao of arrays were nothing compared to the vast universe. He couldn't even restore the teleportation array in the Grand Essence seabed, let alone arrange such a grand array. Sich and Chiu Tian took out an array flag and an entrance appeared in front of the stone platform. Let's go in. This teleportation array can teleport us directly to the void city of the 5 realms. While speaking, Sich and Chiu Tian was the first to enter the teleportation platform and followed Protector Ju. Ning Cheng and the other 4 naturally followed them onto the transmission platform. Once everyone was on the platform, Chiu Tian waved his hand and a stream of divine crystals flowed out. It was unknown how many divine crystals Chiu Tian had thrown at the edge of the platform. After the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, a burst of white light erupted around the boulder platform. The white light directly tore open the void space above the boulder platform and swept away Ning Cheng's group of 8. Ning Cheng had taken the transmission array countless times, but this was the first time that he felt that his spiritual consciousness could not even move, causing his entire person to fall into a state of dizziness. He didn't know how long he stayed in the teleportation space. When he woke up, he was already standing on the same giant stone platform. Seeing that there were still people coming and going around, Ning Cheng knew that they must have reached the 5 realms void city. Seeing that Ning Cheng was the first of the 6 participating pill saints to sober up, Si Chen's Chiu Tian nodded with satisfaction. Ning Cheng didn't disappoint him. He was a Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor, but his Tao marks were far stronger than the others. Did you all come from the Grand Essence Realm to participate in the 5 Realms Pill competition? Si Chen and Chiu Tian had just walked out of the teleportation array when a Tao Transformation Divine Emperor walked over and asked with cupped fists. Si Chen and Chiu Tian nodded and said, "Yes, we came from the Grand Essence Realm." "Then please follow me." The Tao Actualization Divine Emperor gestured and led them out of the teleportation tower. In terms of the concentration of spirit chi, the 5 realms void city couldn't compare to a major sect like the 9 revolutions sacred Tao Pond. In fact, it couldn't even compare to Heaven Essence Sacred City. However, when Ning Cheng's eyes casually swept around, he could already see how strong the people here were. Tao Essence Divine Emperors could be seen from time to time, and even Primordial Essence Divine Emperors would come and go. The array formations and restrictions around these merchant houses were much more sophisticated compared to the merchant houses in Heaven Essence Sacred City. The Tao Actualization Divine Emperor led Ning Cheng and the others to a rest stop. Ning Cheng could see clearly from the outside that this rest stop was called the Great Change Rest Stop. You can rest here. When you go to the Great Change Realm, someone will come to inform you. The Tao Actualization Divine Emperor didn't even arrange a room for them. He brought Ning Cheng and the others here and immediately left. Sich and Chiu Tian said to Ning Cheng and the others, "You guys settle in here first. I have some things to do. When you're free, you can go to the Void Marketplace. Don't create a rift with others. There are many experts here and no one is simple." In fact, even without Sich and Chiu Tian's words, everyone knew that no one here was simple. How could anyone who could come to the 5 realms void marketplace be simple? Ning Cheng vaguely guessed that Sich and Chiu Tian must have gone to find some connections because he brought one more person. The price of the rooms in the Great Change Rest Stop was the same, 10,000 God crystals a day. For a pill sage like Ning Cheng, even if it cost 100,000 God crystals a night, he could still afford to stay for a few months. "Brother Ning, I wonder if you have time to go to the Void Marketplace?" To Ning Cheng's surprise, Le Shizhen, who had once lost to him, took the initiative to invite him. Ning Cheng replied politely, "I'm a little tired and need to rest. Brother Lu, go ahead." "Big brother Lu, I also want to go to the Void Marketplace. Why don't we go together?" Mei Xiuan quickly said when she saw Ning Cheng refuse. Among the six, Lu Shizhen's Pill Dao level was second only to Ning Cheng. It wouldn't be surprising if she became a primordial Dao pill sage in the future. Mei Xiuan was a Dao nourishment pill sage, so she naturally wanted to make friends with her. "Count me in too." Yan Kuaifu and Mei Xiuan were very close. Plus, he also wanted to go to the Five Realms Void Marketplace, so he didn't hesitate to recommend himself. Ning Cheng didn't want to cause trouble. He came to the Five Realms pill competition not only to obtain the wood-attributed top-grade God Spirit Vein, but also to see if Tsang Wei and Pan Qian were in the Great Change Realm. Pan Qian originally wanted to come to the Great Change Realm. As for Tsang Wei, according to him, he could only come to the Great Change Realm to open the Gate of Good Fortune. After returning to his room, Ning Cheng immediately activated the room's restrictions and continued to deduce the alchemy Dao. He lacked the materials to refine primordial Dao pills. Therefore, he could only deduce his alchemy Dao through the mysterious yellow formless cultivation method. After more than half a year of deduction, his alchemy Dao level had reached a new level. Unfortunately, he didn't have any Dao fruits to practice on. Ning Cheng didn't sit in the room for long before the room's restrictions were triggered. Ning Cheng opened the restrictions and looked at Protector Ju standing at the door in confusion. "Senior Ju, why are you looking for me?" "It's not that I'm looking for you, but the Association Master is looking for you. Hurry up and come with me." Protector Ju eagerly gestured to Ning Cheng, indicating that Ning Cheng should follow him. Ning Cheng had a slightly bad feeling in his heart. Protector Ju was a very steady person. Although he had a high cultivation level, he was never impatient or talkative. Why was he so anxious at this moment? Did something happen? "Senior Ju, did something happen?" Not far away, Jing Han and Do Jiangshi walked out of their rooms. Protector Ju said to the two, "It's nothing serious. You stay here and rest. I'll take Ning Cheng out for a while. I'll be back soon." Do Jiangshi's eyes turned. "Senior Ju, why don't we go together? With more people, we can take care of each other." Ning Cheng sneered. "You're just a Dao Transformation Realm cultivator, yet you dare say that you can take care of each other? Dao Transformation Holy Emperors might be considered as powerhouses in the Grand Essence Realm, but in this place, they were just ants." Protector Ju didn't think too much about it and just replied casually, "All right, let's go together." Standing in front of the Grand Change Pill Meet's entrance, Ning Cheng realized where Protector Ju wanted to take him. After entering the Pill Meet, the four quickly came to the entrance of a hall. After entering the hall, Ning Cheng found at least 40 to 50 people in the hall. Sidu Chen's Chiu Tian sat on the side of the hall with a slightly pale face. Ning Cheng was a Dao Essence Pill Saint, and his attainment in Dao pills wasn't something ordinary alchemists could compare to. He had even integrated the Dao of alchemy into the Grand Dao of returning to one. Seeing Sidu Chen's Chiu Tian's condition, Ning Cheng immediately understood that his Dao heart had been damaged. That chaotic aura not only contained the aura of his own Grand Dao, but it also contained the Dao charm aura of the Dao of alchemy. Many powerhouses in the hall didn't care about Sidu Chen's Dao charm's chaotic Dao charm. No one stepped in to help either. Everyone was just talking and laughing merrily. "Association Master, Ning Cheng is here." Protector Ju walked up to Sidu Chen's Chiu Tian and whispered. Sidu Chen's Chiu Tian seemed to have recovered. Seeing the three people behind Protector Ju, he sighed slightly. "Since you're here, sit down. Don't talk too much." No one felt strange about the arrival of Ning Cheng's group of four, nor did anyone say anything. Ning Cheng didn't know what happened. Back in Heaven Essence Sacred City, Ning Cheng knew that Sidu Chen's Dao Heart of Alchemy had cracks. But now, Sidu Chen's Dao Heart of Alchemy showed no signs of healing. Instead, it grew bigger and bigger. Sidu Chen's Dao Heart was different from him. He cultivated the Dao of returning to one. He had only integrated his Dao of alchemy into the Dao of returning to one. It was just a small part of the Grand Dao. But Sidu Chen's Qiu Tian was the opposite. He had integrated his grand Tao into the Tao of alchemy. In the future, the further his Tao of alchemy could go, the further his grand Tao could go. Now that Sidu Chen's Tao of alchemy had cracks, it would be strange if his grand Tao could progress any further. Sitting at the head of the table was a man wearing a purple robe. This man didn't care about Ning Cheng and the others coming over. Instead, he looked at Sidu Chen's Qiu Tian and said calmly, "The first round of the pill discussion has ended." Grand Essence Realm Pill Association's Association Master Sidu Chen's Qiu Tian fell at the end. He only managed to identify 12 out of the 20 materials. Association Master Sidu Chen, do you still want to compete for a spot? Sidu Chen's Qiu Tian's hands trembled slightly. According to the previous rules, each 5 realms pill competition would increase some spots. As an association master, he was also familiar with the host of the 5 realms pill competition. Therefore, it wouldn't be a problem for him to get a spot for Ning Cheng. But what he didn't expect was that the host of the 5 realms pill competition had changed. Moreover, the Grand Essence Realm wasn't the only one who wanted a spot. Therefore, this time, the Pill Dao competition would decide who would get a spot. In the first round, there were 20 kinds of divine grasses. But as the association master of a realm pill association, he only managed to identify 12 of them. Moreover, the association masters of the other realms also managed to identify at least 17 of them, which made the cracks in his heart of alchemy even bigger. Ning Cheng didn't ask Sidu Chen's Qiu Tian about it. But after hearing the words of the purple-robed man, he vaguely understood the situation. Not waiting for Sidu Chen's Qiu Tian to answer, Ning Cheng sent a sound transmission to Sidu Chen's Qiu Tian. Association Master, others might have recognized more. But there's only one Association Master. Everyone else has 5 or 6 people around them. Sidu Chen's Qiu Tian understood Ning Cheng's meaning. It was to comfort him. He sighed, but before he could speak, the purple-robed man asked again, "Does Association Master Sidu Chen want to continue participating in the competition?" Naturally. Seeing Sidu Chen's Qiu Tian still not speaking, Ning Cheng spoke up without hesitation. Chapter 1053. Ning Cheng's words immediately attracted many people's attention. Even if someone wanted to say it, it should have been Si Chen Qiu Tian who said it. Ning Cheng's words, to put it bluntly, were offending his superiors. Si Chen Qiu Tian nodded to Ning Cheng with a smile and then calmly said to the purple-robed man, "My Grand Essence Realm will continue to participate in the competition." Si Chen Qiu Tian understood Ning Cheng's meaning. Ning Cheng knew that his alchemy Dao had cracks. The reason why Ning Cheng said it was to help him build up his confidence in the alchemy Dao. Ning Cheng's starting point was good, but Si Chen Qiu Tian knew that it would be difficult. Once he failed, the cracks in his alchemy Dao would grow bigger and bigger, and it might even affect Ning Cheng. If he stopped now, it could be said that he didn't use his full strength. If he continued to compete, he would have a high chance of failing. Because Si Chen Qiu Tian knew who the people here were. Ning Cheng was a primordial Dao pill saint, but there were not only primordial Dao pill saints but also primordial chaos pill saints. In any case, although Ning Cheng helped himself, it was also equivalent to helping Si Chen Qiu Tian. Even if Ning Cheng failed in the end, Si Chen Qiu Tian wouldn't be unhappy with Ning Cheng because of this. Union Master Si Chen, is this the alchemist from your Grand Essence Realm who came to participate in the pill competition? The purple-robed man on the stage asked Ning Cheng. Not yet. He lacks a spot. I came here for his spot. If I offended you, please forgive me, Brother Kong. Si Chen Qiu Tian cupped his fists and spoke with a calm voice. This competition is a relaxed and casual affair. There are no rules as long as you win. The purple-robed man nodded and spoke in a calm tone. It was just as he said. If there were strict rules, then the first round of the pill discussion wouldn't have used this method to identify divine grasses. Because this method allowed the people around him to communicate with each other. Brother Kong, please wait a moment. Just when the purple-robed man was about to speak, a dark-skinned man stood up and cupped his fists. Oh, what does Union Master Lu want to say? The purple-robed man asked. The dark-skinned man spoke up. I want to ask this Grand Essence Realm Alchemy Master a few questions. I have no other intentions. The purple-robed man smiled faintly. Of course, I've already said that this discussion of alchemy will be a relaxing affair. Everyone can just casually discuss the Tao of alchemy together. Ningqing wondered what this black man wanted to ask him when Sire Qiu Tian's voice sounded in his ear. This person is the Grand Beginning Realm Pill Association's Association Master Lu Dongzi. I heard that he's a primordial essence pill saint, but I've never seen him refine medicinal pills. I don't know if it's true or not. I'm afraid he doesn't have good intentions when he asks you questions. Be careful when you answer him. I am Lu Dongzi. May I know how to address this alchemist? Lu Dongzi's tone was rather polite. He was not aggressive at all. Ningqing cupped his fists. Grand Essence Ningqing, if Tao friend Lu has any questions, please enlighten me. Lu Dongzi was infuriated. Ningqing was only a Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor while he was a Primordial Essence Divine Emperor. A Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor dared to call a Primordial Essence Divine Emperor Tao friend instead of Qian Bei. Coupled with Ningqing's previous words, he was even more certain that Ningqing was a madman. Pill Master Ning just said that the reason why other people can recognize more divine herbs is because there are more people, right? Lu Dongzi's tone was no longer as polite as before. Only then did Ningqing understand why the other party was angry. It turned out to be because of this. From the looks of it, Lu Dongzi didn't ask anyone to help him recognize the divine herbs. He recognized them all by himself. In fact, Ningqing was really wrong. Which one of the association masters who came here wasn't a talented person? In this kind of alchemy competition, these association masters disdained asking for help from others. Don't look at how they brought some participating alchemists. In fact, it was their own ability to recognize the divine herbs. It definitely wasn't what Ningqing said. It was just that the other association masters didn't take Ningqing's words to heart at all. What you think is what you think, and the truth is the truth. Only Lu Dongzi had a straightforward personality and didn't allow any sand to enter his eyes. In terms of alchemy Tao, he would never admit that he was worse than others. Now that someone doubted his alchemy Tao level, he couldn't help it. Knowing this, Sichen Qiu Tian sighed helplessly when he heard Ningqing's comforting words. Because in fact, he, Sichen Qiu Tian, wasn't as good as others. Ningqing spread out his hands. Tao friend Lu, I just said that others had many people around them. I didn't say that someone helped them cheat. The purple-robed man heard Ningqing's words and immediately said, Tao friend Ning, there's no problem of cheating here. Even if someone helped you, as long as you can recognize them, it's still allowed. Oh, then I won't have any problems. Tao friend Lu, you're overthinking things. Just now, Senior Kong also said that it's allowed for people to help. Ningqing spoke up. Ningqing's act of disrespecting his seniors not only upset Lu Dongzi, but also the others. A middle-aged woman sitting next to Lu Dongzi spoke up in a cold voice. So Pill Master Ning is even stronger than Association Master Sichen? If Pill Master Ning were here just now, you would have recognized more than 12 divine herbs in the Grand Essence Realm. Ningqing felt angry. The reason why he spoke like this wasn't because he wanted to be arrogant, but because he wanted to help Sichen Qiu Tian perfect his alchemy Tao heart. Just now, when Sichen Qiu Tian had failed, no one had come forward to comfort him. He didn't believe that no one could see that Sichen Qiu Tian's alchemy Tao runes were messy. Even if he mocked Sichen Qiu Tian, it was better than ignoring him and chatting. Lu Dongzi's words might have been because he felt wronged, but this middle-aged woman was clearly fishing in troubled waters and wanted to sprinkle salt on Sichen Qiu Tian's wounds. When he was about to fail in refining the 6-in soul pill, Sichen Qiu Tian had been worried that his Tao heart would be scarred and had taken the initiative to help. Ningqing had always remembered this kindness. Now that Sichen Qiu Tian's alchemy Tao heart had been scarred, how could he let this middle-aged woman sprinkle salt on it? Who are you? Ningqing's tone had been as if he was speaking to Lu Dongzi as an equal. At this moment, Ningqing was simply speaking in a condescending tone. The middle-aged woman's face sank. You're just a Tao birth sacred emperor. How dare you talk to me like this? This is the great ultimate realm's primordial Tao alchemy's sacred emperor, Che Beiji. She's also the great ultimate realm's elixir association master. Sichen Xiaotian was afraid that Ning Cheng would speak nonsense, so he quickly explained. Ning Cheng softened his tone and said faintly, in terms of cultivation level, I believe that Guild Master Che is the #1 expert in the entire 5 realms Void City. Therefore, you don't have to point out that I only have a Tao birth cultivation level. However, this is a place to discuss alchemy, not cultivation. Che Beiji's face turned extremely ugly. She was only at the early stage primordial Tao. In terms of cultivation level, she could count backward. Ning Cheng's words were akin to slapping her in the face. Without waiting for Che Beiji to refute, Ning Cheng added, I'll answer your question now. When I was refining the Heaven Essence Heavenly Pill, I specially went to consult Guild Master Si Chen. After receiving Union Head Si Chen's guidance, I suddenly understood. That's not all. When I was refining the 6-in Soul Pill, I was on the verge of failure. With Guild Master Si Chen's guidance, I finally succeeded. Therefore, in terms of alchemy Tao, I'm barely stronger than you, but I'm far inferior to Guild Master Si Chen. When it comes to identifying divine grasses, I'm not worse than anyone else. Si Chen Qiutian felt a trace of warmth in his heart. What Ning Cheng said was true. Whether it was the 6-in Soul Pill or the Heaven Essence Heavenly Pill, he had given Ning Cheng advice. Because Ning Cheng spoke the truth, he did not have even half a shred of estrangement in his heart and completely accepted Ning Cheng's words. Some disdainful gazes on Ning Cheng in the hall suddenly changed when they heard that Ning Cheng had even refined the 6-in Soul Pill. An alchemy saint who could refine the 6-in Soul Pill was at least a primordial Tao alchemy saint, and not an ordinary primordial Tao alchemy saint. Ning Cheng didn't look old, but he was already a primordial Tao alchemy saint. How could his future achievements be low? When did the great essence realm's alchemy Tao become so strong? Ning Cheng could refine the 6-in Soul Pill, but he didn't even have a place in the competition? Didn't this mean that the other 5 participants were all primordial Tao alchemy saints? For a moment, everyone had their own thoughts. Hearing Ning Cheng say that he wasn't worse than her in identifying divine grasses, Che Beiji calmed down. She stood up to please Lu Dongzi. But if Lu Dongzi didn't come out to help her, then she wouldn't need to continue trying to please him. Besides, Ning Cheng had refined the 6-in Soul Pill, which meant that his alchemy Tao's strength shouldn't be any worse than hers. Sure enough, Lu Dongzi sneered, in that case, I'll come and identify the divine grasses with Pill Master Ning. After saying that, Lu Dongzi cupped his fists towards the purple-robed man and said, Brother Kong, please set the question. Si Chen Qiutian quickly sent a sound transmission to Ning Cheng. Don't compete with Lu Dongzi in identifying divine grasses. Just now, out of the 20 divine grasses, only one person managed to identify all of them. That person was Lu Dongzi. Ning Cheng felt secretly surprised. Was this Lu Dongzi really that powerful? The purple-robed man looked at Ning Cheng and asked, Pill Master Ning, now that President Lu wants to compete with you in identifying divine grasses, what does Pill Master Ning think? Ning Cheng showed a calm smile. Naturally. Since it's a competition, it naturally has a stake. I wonder if this stake is a place in the competition, or something else. The purple-robed man chuckled. This is a competition between the two of you. It has nothing to do with a place in the competition. Lu Dongzi directly took out a thick ancient book and placed it on the table. This is the most precious ancient book on the Tao of alchemy that I've obtained since I started practicing alchemy. It's called Universe Vegetation. It's all because of this ancient book that I could become a primordial chaos pill saint and identify all the divine grasses. If you beat me, this ancient book will be yours. Seeing Lu Dongzi take out this thick ancient book, everyone in the hall stared straight at it. Everyone here was a powerhouse in the Tao of alchemy. Who wouldn't want this universe vegetation? Ning Cheng also felt eager in his heart. In fact, although he had seen a lot of alchemy Tao jade strips, none of them were precious. Most of them were second-rate goods bought from merchant houses. Lu Dongzi's universe vegetation was definitely a treasure among the ancient books on the Tao of alchemy. If he could obtain this ancient book, his attainment in the Tao of alchemy would undoubtedly improve further. Thinking of this, Ning Cheng took out a jade bottle and placed it on the table without hesitation. This is a trace of fire-attributed primal chaos chi that I bought at an auction. As soon as they heard the words primal chaos chi, many eyes immediately swept over. Who didn't know the effect of primal chaos chi on a cultivator? Although fire-attributed primal chaos chi wasn't the most primitive, it was more tempting to pill saints. This bottle of fire-attributed primal chaos chi isn't as valuable as the universe vegetation. The purple-robed man's gaze swept over the jade bottle that Ning Cheng took out and spoke with a calm tone. Lu Dongzi showed a slight smile. It's not easy for him to take out a trace of 5-element primal chaos chi. I happen to lack this thing. Let's do it. Since Lu Dongzi agreed, the purple-robed man naturally wouldn't say anything else. Raising his hand, he took out a divine grass. This is the first divine grass. The two of you, identify it and write the answer on the jade strip. Ning Cheng sighed. Sure enough, just as he thought, he couldn't identify the first divine grass. Chapter 1054. Seeing Lu Dongzi's faint smile, Ning Cheng knew that the other party definitely knew what divine grass it was. None of the people sitting here had simple experience. Looking at Ning Cheng's expression, many people guessed that Ning Cheng most likely didn't recognize this divine grass. Even the purple-robed man who presided over the competition secretly shook his head. Sure enough, this fellow was an arrogant fellow. From this, it could be seen that Ning Cheng's previous statement about refining the 6-in soul pill should also be false. The divine grass he took out was indeed extremely rare, but no matter how rare it was, this first one was also the simplest one. If one couldn't even recognize the first one, then there would be no need to compete at all. Senior Kong, I wonder if there's a time limit for identifying divine grasses? Or would whoever identifies it first win? Ning Cheng didn't engrave anything on the jade strip but asked about the rules of the competition. The purple-robed man found it a little funny. If you can't recognize a divine grass, then even if you were given 100 days, you still wouldn't be able to. Unless you deduced all the effects of this divine grass, but what's the use of deducing it? You still don't know what kind of divine grass this is. After Ning Cheng asked this question, the contemptuous and disdainful gazes in the hall grew even more. Jing Han, who stood behind Sidu Chen's Qiu Tian, felt secretly happy. Ning Cheng had caused a crack in his Tao of alchemy. Now that Ning Cheng was beaten to the ground, how could he not feel happy? The purple-robed man showed a slight smile. In theory, there is no time limit for identifying divine grasses, and the time taken to identify them doesn't determine the winner or loser. But how many years would it take to identify a divine grass? Therefore, we set a time limit of 2 hours for each divine grass. As long as we can identify it within 2 hours, we will have the same result. What does Tao friend Ning and Association Master Lu think? The purple-robed man's words still made sense. If one couldn't identify a divine grass within 2 hours, then there would be no point in dragging it out. Of course, I don't have any objections. What's wrong with letting him identify it for a year? Lu Dongzi didn't even glance at Ning Cheng and spoke up coldly. Before the competition, he still regarded Ning Cheng as a character. But now, Ning Cheng was nothing in his eyes. I don't have any objections, I just hope that Senior Kong can take out all the divine grasses we identified, 2 of each kind. I will identify mine, he will identify his. After we identify it in one go, we can carve the jade strip for Senior Kong. How about it? Ning Cheng put forward another suggestion. He had no choice. Who asked him to be weaker than the other party? He could only play some tricks. The purple-robed man chuckled and didn't speak even half a word of nonsense. He raised his hand and took out 10 stalks of divine grasses before sending them to Ning Cheng and Lu Dongzi, 5 stalks each. The 5 kinds of divine grasses in front of Ning Cheng were exactly the same as the 5 kinds of divine grasses in front of Lu Dongzi. There was no issue of difficulty. Seeing Lu Dongzi take out a blank jade strip, Ning Cheng felt somewhat helpless. He could use the ingredients and effects of the divine herbs to argue that he didn't lose. However, the eyes of the people in the hall were as sharp as snow. Lu Dongzi had already written down the 5 types of divine grasses, but he was still deducing them. Even if it was a tie through sophistry, it would be even more embarrassing. At this time, Ning Cheng could only take out a blank jade strip and casually engrave a few names on it. When he saw Lu Dongzi put down the jade strip, he quickly rushed forward and said, "Senior Kong, I've finished the identification." Ning Cheng's words felt like a bomb dropped in the middle of the hall, surprising everyone. Ning Cheng's previous performance showed that Ning Cheng's knowledge was poor, which meant that it was almost impossible for him to recognize all 5 divine grasses. Otherwise, Ning Cheng wouldn't have asked about the time limit. What was going on now? Why hadn't Lu Dongzi said anything yet? Did he finish identifying them? Wasn't this too outrageous? Did Ning Cheng ask about the time limit because he feared that Lu Dongzi would deliberately find an excuse to stall for time? Or did he want to stall for time? Lu Dongzi also looked at Ning Cheng in surprise. This wasn't right. He believed that his alchemy Dao level was among the best even in the entire Grand Change realm. Not to mention that Ning Cheng's alchemy Dao level wasn't as good as his. Even if Ning Cheng's alchemy Dao level could match his, Ning Cheng's ability to identify divine grasses wouldn't be as good as his. But the fact was that Ning Cheng had recognized these 5 divine grasses before him. The purple-robed man also looked at Ning Cheng in surprise. Did he make a mistake just now? Ning Cheng truly was a top-notch alchemy Dao powerhouse. One had to know that the divine grasses he took out were extremely rare divine grasses with lost inheritances. He was the one who presided over the pill meat. When it came to his alchemy Dao level, he might not be as good as some people here. But when it came to divine grasses with lost inheritances, he naturally knew more about them than others. It was because they studied these things every day. If it weren't for Lu Dongzi's universe plants, he wouldn't have known more than him. I've also finished identifying them. Lu Dongzi's tone no longer contained the previous disdain. This time, it carried a hint of caution. The purple-robed man suppressed the shock in his heart and looked at Lu Dongzi before saying, "You've finished identifying them. Now, tell me, what's the name of this divine grass?" After speaking, the purple-robed man took out another divine grass. This divine grass was half a foot long and had 2 narrow leaves. It was gray in color. Ning Cheng and Lu Dongzi both had the same divine grass in front of them. He didn't ask Ning Cheng and Lu Dongzi to hand over the jade strips in their hands to him. This not only showed that this was an easy match, but also showed that he trusted both of them. However, such a casual move made Ning Cheng feel even more at ease. Ning Cheng originally felt that if both of them recognized the divine grasses and ended in a tie in the first round, there would definitely be a second round. Because of this idea, Ning Cheng took the risk and wanted to drag the fight to the second round. The first round was about identifying divine grasses, and the second round definitely wouldn't be about identifying divine grasses. Now that the purple-robed man didn't take away their jade strips, it meant that the second round was inevitable. Moreover, it also had something to do with the 5 divine grasses in the first round. Otherwise, this man surnamed Kong would have already taken away the jade strips. This is the Heavenly Fox double-leaf scale, Lu Dongzi said with a calm voice. Some pill saints who also recognized this divine grass nodded secretly. Lu Dongzi indeed lived up to his reputation. They only knew about the Heavenly Fox double-leaf scale by chance. Moreover, no matter how rare a divine grass was, it couldn't escape Lu Dongzi's eyes. Everyone looked at Ning Cheng. Even if Ning Cheng didn't recognize the Heavenly Fox double-leaf scale, he didn't dare to change the contents of the jade strip just because Lu Dongzi recognized it. With so many experts here, any change in the jade strip's contents would be immediately detected. The purple-robed man also looked at Ning Cheng. "Dao friend Ning, what do you think this divine grass is called?" "It's called green foxtail grass." Ning Cheng replied calmly. As soon as the words green foxtail grass came out, everyone froze. Wasn't this a bit too shameless? If they couldn't recognize it, then they couldn't recognize it. Was there a need to be so shameless? Even Jing Han, who had a grudge against Ning Cheng, felt ashamed. Who told him and Ningqing to come from the Grand Essence realm? Only Sich and Qiu Tian remained calm on the surface. He understood Ningqing. Since he said that, then there must be an explanation. Ha, do you still have any shame? Brother Kong, for such a shameless person to appear here is an insult to the entire alchemy Dao. Che Beiji stood up, the anger on her face almost burning Ningqing. Previously, when she heard that Ningqing had refined the 6-yin soul pill, she felt a little afraid of Ningqing. But now she finally understood that Ningqing had deliberately come here to make trouble. To put it bluntly, he was a sore loser. To be honest, she had cultivated for so many years, but she had never seen an alchemist as shameless as Ningqing. The purple-robed man's face sank, and the murderous aura around him suddenly pressed down on Ningqing. Just because he was easy to talk to didn't mean that others could talk nonsense here. If Ningqing really fought with Lu Dongsa, he wouldn't favor either side. But if he wanted to treat everyone as fools, then he had chosen the wrong place. Pill Master Ning, if you treat everyone as fools and dare to mess around here, don't blame me for being impolite. Even Sich and Qiu Tian can't protect you. As the purple-robed man spoke, his murderous aura started to condense. I've finally seen it. Lu Dongsa laughed. He had thought that Ningqing was a great fellow, but it turned out that he relied on his thick skin. Ningqing didn't feel surprised and spoke with a flat tone. When my master taught me, it was called foxtail grass. Could it be that the same divine herb had to be called the same everywhere? I've heard that some places call starry sky crystals as immortal crystals. Is that also wrong? When my master taught me, he told me that all the grand Daos under the heavens lead to the same destination. All the spirit techniques under the heavens lead to the same destination. Yet, for you to get angry over a mere name, could it be that Senior Kong still hasn't understood it? Everyone knew that Ningqing was talking nonsense, but after hearing it, they couldn't refute it. The cultivation realms of the Grand Essence realm and the Grand Beginning realm were very different from the Grand Beginning realm and the Grand Change realm. But as Ningqing said, all the grand Daos under the heavens lead to the same destination. Just like immortal crystals and starry sky crystals were the same thing, but they had different names in the two positional planes. Who among the people who came here didn't understand this truth? Ningqing's words weren't all nonsense. Although he said that foxtail grass was indeed nonsense, the latter part was his own understanding of the Grand Dao. The Grand Daos under the heavens, as he said, no matter how many branches there were, no matter how many methods there were, they all pursued only one goal. The anger on the purple-robed man's face slowly disappeared, and the entire hall turned silent. Che Beiji, who wanted to stand up and scold Ningqing again, also stopped his movements. Your master is an amazing person, and Dao Friend Ning's words are also correct. All the grand Daos under the heavens lead to the same destination. Foxtail grass and heavenly fox double-leaf scales only have different names, but their effects are the same. Now, Pill Sage Ning, please tell me the name of this second divine grass. While speaking, the purple-robed man took out another divine grass. This divine grass was actually a green vine, and the leaves on the vine looked like claws. These claws had many leaves and formed a wave. This is a chicken claw vine. Ningqing still spoke calmly. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.